obviously into the braking area at the top of turn 1, end of the back straight at turn 12, but add turn 11 in there just before you go on to the back straight. An opportunity as you dive down the hill there, maybe to take some kind of advantage. The good drivers will take any opportunity that puts itself in front of them, and they'll need no second invitation, but making clean passes here is very important indeed. I'm John Hindhaugh. Jeremy Shaw is alongside me. If we've learned anything from this season of the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship, Jeremy, is that it's not to make predictions. Pretty much anybody from the sharp end of any of the classes could win. And if we get that weather that blows in unexpectedly, well, frankly, all bets are off.
Yeah, you're right. I was just trying to check out the weather forecast here. So 10% is a possibility that's being quoted at the moment on the local radar thing. So hopefully we'll stay with a 90 and keep it dry here. I think it's going to be a fascinating race. Certainly, any rain that there would be would mix things up a lot, but I think it's going to be mixed up in any case, as you just suggested now. It's going to be a real workout for everybody here involved, and keeping that clean head is going to be very, very important. I think it's going to be a really interesting race. Track position is important here because it's not. You can easily get held up going through the S's, as we talked about a little bit earlier on, and you want that track position out in front. You can make a good clean start, get away from the pack potentially.
Temperature is rising all the time on the air and in the track. It's going to be very, very hot indeed in those cars. The drivers will have hydrated as much as they can before they're rolled out of the pit lane. They may even have to be encouraged and reminded to drink their drinks bottles from the pit lane. Got to make that bottle last, though, for the length of your stint.
Well, yeah, and speaking of several drivers this morning, I mean, it is so hot out here, the ambient. The drinks bottles gets really, hot. Really hot as well. It's not really very refreshing at all.
No, but it does keep the liquid going in.
Yeah.
Most of them using rather more exotic cocktails than just essence of water. The guys using all manner of different supplements to try and get the electrolytes back into their bodies. They'll lose, even in maybe an hour or an hour and a quarter stint here, probably 5 or 6 pounds just sweating out of them inside, particularly the closed cockpit prototypes and GT cars. It'll be Ricky Taylor who brings the cars to the green flag in the Wayne Taylor Racing, his father's team, number 10. The dark grey, almost black Chevy prototype. Tristan Nunez with the 55. Must have thought he had that soul red Mazda on pole position. 0.003 of a second nicked away from him in the dying moments of qualifying here on Friday. Row 2, Joel Miller, team car to the Nunez Mazda. 70 on the inside of row 2 from Eric Curran in the 31. That is one of the Action Express cars, the red and white version. His teammate is one place, therefore one row further back. Christian Fittipaldi will start the 5. That's the white, black and yellow Action Express car with Sean Rahal alongside him in the very distinctive Delta Wing. It is the only one of its kind. You can't miss it, and it is Batman Day today. I wonder if that was going to. One did wonder if the Delta Wing was going to be painted all matte black to celebrate that. And frankly, any of those, and add Mark Goosens into that in the new cobalt and purple 90 Visit Florida Racing Corvette prototype, Jeremy. Any one of those 7 could be leading as they come out of turn 1.
Yeah, they could. The Delta Wing is very slippery. It is very fast in a straight line. They've got that car working quite well this weekend. But the worry is it going to be sliding too much and using up its rear tyres? Tyre wear certainly is going to be an issue here. But I think this is going to be a really interesting race. And I think all 4 classes are just wide open.
It looks like race control have, I think, rather sensibly asked the classes to split again, with the GT cars just a little further behind the prototype machines. The GT LMs, these are the cars the same that raced at the 24 hours, and they'll be headed off by Ryan Briscoe in the 67 Ford alongside Tony Vielander in the 62 Racing Competizione Ferrari. They'll come through in a moment, but the green flag is in the air and being waved by Wes Whitlock, the Marine Security Guard and Assistant Detachment Commander. He's done a pretty good job of that. And Ricky Taylor immediately on the defensive as he's mobbed by two Soul Red Masters. Christian Fittipaldi coming up the inside in the white Action Express car. There's two cars off the road. One of them is the Delta Wing, just about gets back on again. That was side by side with Eric Curran, who was holding his position in the Whelan Corvette. Now the GT cars come up the hill, headed by the Ford, and immediately Vielander goes down the inside in the bright red Ferrari and will take the lead of GT LM as they go through turn number one. But the Porsches are hunting in fourth and fifths. They've come straight through. Magic stuff there. Vielander goes through the lead, and the two Porsches jump up from their second row to be second and third. Use the opportunity given to them by the leaders, battling into the first corner and going wide. Somehow Vielander came out of that in the lead. I've got no clue how.
Well, he did it by running very, very wide over the exit curbing there and carrying that momentum. And you're not supposed to be doing that. That's a violation of track limits. That's the difference between the GTLM start and the prototype start. The prototype start was really clean going around that corner. We saw Tristan Nunez trying to make that move around the outside. He was given enough room to do that. So that's going to be interesting. We've heard Bo Barfield, the race director, talking about the fact he's going to be pretty strict on the excessive use of outside the track limit. So we'll see whether he is true to that word as this race progresses. Lots of battling here though in GTD. Madison Snow struggling for grip coming off the hairpin at turn 11.
Yeah, GTD led by Alex Riberas in the 23. The blue Porsche, Patrick Lindsay in the 73 snipped up in the second ahead of the first of the Stevenson Audis, and side-by-side action and a little touch from the 48. That's Madison Snow in the Lamborghini, the silver, black and white machine. And he's making up positions on Andrew Davis. Goes through that, takes the place as the prototypes go through. Ricky Taylor somehow has held on to the lead, but only by 0.6 of a second from Nunez and his teammate Joel Miller. Christian Fittipaldi, the best start there as he's up into fourth place. 10.55, 70 and 5, with Eric Curran shuffled back down to fifth position ahead of Mark Goosens. And Sean Rahal in the zero, the Delta Wing, in seventh position. In PC, it's Robert Alon from pole position from Papa Gutierrez, Nick Boulay, and also making up positions at the moment, the number 33. That is the Viper going through, local car, and that's Ben Keating.
Yeah, he's already passed 5 or 6 cars. He started right in the back, did Ben Keating, with number 66 car right at the tail of the field there. So must have been some sort of a spin on that first lap, I think, for the number 66. That's Dirk Mueller who started that car.
Straight down to our Continental Tire pit lane reporter for an update on that 33 car, Shane.
Well, part of the reason that they started at the back of the grid was because qualifying didn't go according to plan. Bill Riley, the team manager and owner, decided to move to the back of the grid. 4 new Continental tires are on that Viper. That's part of the advantage. The other thing is Ben Keating knows this track well, having won here 3 times in the last 3 years. Also, in morning warm-up, they were the cause of the red flag that caused the session to be ended early. That's because they cut a power steering line. All is fixed now for the race, and that 33 looking strong.
Thank you, Shea Adam, with that Continental Tire pit lane report. Sirius 203, XM 145, around the circuit on the scanner frequency 454 even, and around the world on the IMSA app and at imsa.tv, where sound and vision is linked together. Also, of course, via radiolemans.com and the IMSA player there for sound and vision. Ricky Taylor then settles into his race groove, was determined not to allow another pole position by the Mazdas. 0.003 of a second. It's Joel Miller who has the fastest lap thus far in the race. 2 minutes, 0.811 of a second. That's the third place car. The Action Express cars together now in fourth and fifth, with Christian Fittipaldi getting the best start. Took a great opportunist dive up the inside to get into that position. It's always a bit of a decision to make, isn't it, at the start of a race, particularly when you've got a long run to a tight corner. How brave do you want to be? You're not going to win the race there, but you can lose it. Certainly put a dent in your ambitions if you put a dent in the car. Down the back straight then for the leaders into turn number 11 now as they head onto that long back straight for the Action Express cars.
A little bit farther back in GTD, we had a Porsche 1-2 at the end of the first lap there with Alex Riberas leading for Patrick Lindsay. On lap 2, however, Lawson Eichenbach has moved to his Stevenson Racing Audi car number 9 up into second place. So splitting those two Porsches. The Ferrari of Christina Nielsen, the championship leader, running very nicely there in the 4th position.
Yeah, that's a gain, I think net gain of 1 for Christina, isn't it, starting 5th?
And up at the front of the field, the fastest car on that last lap was Joel Miller on lap 2 with a 2 minutes .811, fractionally quicker than our 2 race leaders.
Who are picking up their pace. 811 against an 890 from his teammates and a 201.098, so we are talking fractions here, but that was the story of qualifying as well here. Getting in towards the heat of the day, but a welcome bit of cloud cover here at the Circuit of the Americas as we're on racing lap number 3, and Ricky Taylor will lead the field round onto this long start-finish straight. Grandstands both sides. Great arena feeling as you drive up here and climb 4 stories to turn number 1 in the GT Le Mans category. Tony Vielander holds the advantage over Patrick Pilet, last year's champion in the Porsche. Bright red Risi Competizione Ferrari. Long-time sponsorship from Ferrari of Houston. And this really is, albeit a couple of hours away, their home race for Risi Competizione. And Tony Vielander getting it underway in the best possible style as he comes out of the left-hander at turn 20 and crosses the line. Pilet. And then Fran Makowiecki in the 912 Porsche is in 3rd position. Paul Sitter, Ryan Briscoe just shuffled back a little bit to 4th, but that 67 car all season, Jeremy, has had a problem getting up to speed on starts and restarts. We've seen it whether Ryan's been at the wheel or Richard Westbrook. It just seems to take a little more time to get into its groove than the competition.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And yeah, but look at the Corvettes there. They're right in the thick of it now, and they're hanging on to the tail there of the 4G of that 4GT of Ryan Briscoe, the pole sealer, having fallen back to that 4th position. But the Corvettes, they appeared to be a little bit off the pace in the practice and in qualifying as well. But as usual, here they are in race day. And right, okay, very early stages, no super fast laps yet. They're still really bedding themselves in, and they know how long this race is, so they want to be sure not to take too much out of their cars, and particularly their tyres in the early stages.
Yeah.
Interesting to see the 2 Action Express cars absolutely nose to tail. Eric Curring hanging right on there with Christian Fittipaldi, and Ozzy Negri having started at the back of the prototype field, so behind all the PC cars now, is through ahead of them, and he will now try to track down the battle between the number 90 and the 0 car.
Yeah, a little bit of a change of tactics there from the Michael Shank Racing team with their throwback livery to 2004, red, white and blue. BMW is not having it their own way at the start of the race as Dirk Werder is in 7th, John Edwards in 8th. So Dirk Müller in the 66 car is the 9th and last of the GT LM machines, still at the back of the GT Daytona field as he's fighting his way through the traffic at the moment.
Best lap there for our race leader, kind of a 10, Ricky Taylor, down in the first guy below 2 minutes.
Good to see the 2 Corvettes. If you were a Corvette fan looking at the results after qualifying, you might have been a bit disheartened, but I think both Jeremy and I said then there's a lot of the break by the number 4 Ollie Gavin. Just puts him wide into turn 1. We said at the time, he never can out the Velocity yellow cars. Doug Feehan, Danny Binks and the rest of that team, they know how to improve a car through a race weekend, and the only laps that matters are the last ones, and the only position that matters is on the results sheet. And frankly, they've pulled out a couple of extraordinary results when they've been way off the pace, worse off than they were this weekend. He wouldn't bet against them again. Leading the championship, of course, as they come into this race.
Yeah, whatever that problem was for Dirk Mueller on the first lap, he's now working his way through the GTD cars in car number 66, but certainly has lost a lot of ground, and it's going to be very difficult to make that up.
Well, he'll be hoping for a bit of tricky pit strategy. You can sometimes make a virtue out of a problem at the beginning. Maybe take an early pit stop and then back time yourself to the end of the race. Remember, this is a time certain race. We've had 15 minutes of the 2 hours and 45 already. And 5 laps, if you will, in the books. 2040, sorry. So this just settling down now, with the battles continuing through the GT Le Mans field. At the head of Prototype Challenge, Robert Alon has pulled out 4 seconds on Alex Popout, but he has got Gutierrez right in his wheel tracks, not even a tenth between those two.
No, and all of the GTLM cars, they're turning laps between 205.3 and 205.7. Close.
Yes. So Ricky Taylor then just got to get his head down and continue, as has the leader in GTLM, who's going. Now this is interesting because the GTLM car's now going past the number 88. That's one of the slower of the Oregas in the Prototype Challenge class. It's Mark Varme in the Starworks car, but both the leaders have got through. Intriguing battle here between two very feisty contenders, Tony Vielander and Patrick Pilet. Mid-engine Ferrari against rear-engine Porsche, and a Ferrari that is of the very latest generation of GT Le Mans cars, built to the new regulations that came in at the end of last year for 2016. The Porsche very much a bit of a mix and match car, really, much more of a 2015 and a half rather than a 2016. Not able to fully exploit the loosening of the aerodynamic regs that Ford, Ferrari and Aston Martin have done with their cars. Because of the position of the engine, they can't have the serious amount of rear underbody aerodynamics, so they've had to play around to find the balance that they want, and it's been a bit of a chore for them this year. The car's either been unbeatable or undrivable. He hasn't been in between. Today looks like one of the former days, with Pilet and Makovic right on the pace early on. What will be interesting to see is what happens if the temperature rises when this cloud cover blows away, if it does, because we've seen huge variations in performance from one car to or from a car in one set of circumstances for the track temperatures to another.
Yeah, it has been intriguing, and I'm intrigued by this battle here between the two Action Express cars. The championship it lies just 1 point between these two coming into this weekend. Eric Kern is all over the back of Christian Fittipaldi. He really is looking to try and find a way past, which is not easy. Also, another note in PC, a change in second place. Jose Gutierrez in car number 7 has moved ahead of his teammate Alex Popout.
The number 25 BMW has just come down the pit lane, a drive-through penalty. Not sure what for, but I will find out and let you know.
Thank you, Shea. In and out then very quickly for Dirk Werner. Off the pit lane speed limiter, and he's off and running. And the Action Express twins have come together at turn number 13. There was a certain amount of inevitability about that, with Eric Curran, I think, getting a little bit frustrated. One of our IHG Rewards Club keys to the race: have patience in traffic, there's only one groove. That does also apply when it's your teammate. Eric coming down the curb and trying to make it past 2 wheels off the grass when there really wasn't any room at all to do that.
No, but yeah, this is lap 7. Does Christian Fittipaldi really need to work that hard to keep him behind?
Well, I mean, that would have been frankly a low percentage lunge against a competitor, but against your teammate on lap 7? Really, guys? Awkward when we get back to the hauler later on. On-track contact for the 25 is what brought it down
Well, maybe that explains why number 66 car was
all the way at the
back in the first lap then. Yes,
Thank
okay, thank you, Shay.
We're putting 2 and 2 together and making 174 there, but I think that's a reasonable one to do, Jeremy. I wonder now if they'll have to leave either Christian Fittipaldi or Eric Curran in for a second stint, because getting those two guys out of the car at the same time in the same pit box area might be quite interesting. We might have to get Tim Kennedy, our UFC fighter, in to referee that one.
Yeah, I think Shay's already booked her place
on the front row, absolutely. Live from trackside, this is IMSA Radio in sound and vision with IMSA.tv and around the world on the IMSA app, as well as on Sirius 203 XM 145. Good to have your company. The opening salvos have been fired in the Lone Star Le Mans here for the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship at the Circuit of the Americas. Ricky Taylor by 2.1 seconds ahead of Tristan Nunez in the 55 Mazda in second place. His teammate Joel Miller is another couple of seconds further back, and then 9 seconds back to Eric Curran. They were a lot closer, the Action Express cars, but are coming together a couple of laps ago, had them both facing the wrong direction, and Christian Fittipaldi has dropped all the way down to 8th position and ran about 20 seconds in time on his teammate. I'm sure there's some choice words from Christian Fittipaldi there, who's rather mugged by his teammate. Car making up the places at the moment, Ben Keating in the GT Daytona Dodge Viper and the number 33. That car started at the back, put a new set of Continental tyres on, is up to 8th in the GT Daytona category now, having started at the back and in 39th position. In the GTLM, Tony Vilander leads by around about 1.5 seconds from Patrick Pilet, 62 Ferrari from Porsche, number 911, and in GT Daytona, Alex Riberas from Lawson Aschenbach from Patrick Lindsay. Those guys first, second and third in respectively the 23 Porsche, the 9 Audi and the 73. That is another Porsche. A little bit further down in 4th position, Christina Nielsen, our championship leader, has Paolo Roberti in the grey, white and red Lamborghini, right in the wheel traps. Madison Snow's there as well, coming off a victory last time out at VIR for Paul Miller Racing in the 45 Lambo. That's the red, white and silver car, and just behind them Andrew Davis in the number 6 Audi from Stevenson. Those four are battling for 4th position, and well, there's not a car's length between any of them.
No, it's a great battle, isn't it? I saw Madison Snow and Brian Sellers a few minutes before the start of the race and asking him, hey, I expected you two guys to be more competitive this weekend. Madison was saying he qualified the car. He said there was no grip in the qualifying session for him. He think he started in the 5th position, having been on the pole and won convincingly last time out at VAR. And Brian said, look, we just don't have the balance on the car. It's just not handling the heat very well at all. So they've not been very happy with it. They've made some wholesale changes, trying to make it more consistent in the race.
It's the voice of Jeremy Shaw. I'm John Hindorf. We're heading towards midday here in Texas. Mad Dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun, they say, but we'll be racing through that in about 6 minutes' time. And Ricky Taylor is braving those conditions at the moment. Very hot indeed inside that closed cockpit of the Chevy Daytona prototype. Already put traffic between himself now and Tristan Nunez in second, who is having to follow along behind the Lamborghini of Corey Lewis, sitting in 10th position in GT Daytona at the moment through the S's. The dark red and black, the soul red is that colour is called from Mazda. That's effectively now their corporate racing colour scheme. Looking brilliant under the sunshine here this week. Being so close to a victory. Shoulda, coulda, had a couple at least this season. They've had some bad luck. They've made some perhaps not great decisions in the pit lanes. The stark truth is, as Jeremy and I have talked about many times before, you simply have to get it all right. You cannot win a race now having made any kind of mistakes. it would be, well, I'd say not canon, but it would be very, very unusual. As soon as you make any kind of error, whether it's tactically or out on the track, normally takes away a win and probably a podium now. It is that tight in all of the categories. Reliability is something that we seldom talk about now, although the extreme heat we've seen this weekend has affected some of the support races. I just wonder if the teams have been telling their drivers just to work the cars if they can a little bit less, stay off the curbs. They're very severe in places, deliberately so, to keep the cars on the track. As Joel Miller comes past Brett Curtis in the 96 BMW as he climbs the hill. Brett just 9th in the GT Daytona category. Ben Keating up to 8th in that same category. He's trying to get on the back of that battle that has Andrew Davis, Madison Snow, Paolo Roberti and Christina Nielsen. They're all battling for 4th position, and he can see them up ahead as he goes through the latter part of the S. As blue flags waving for him means the prototype going by. It's one of the Mazdas. It's the 7-0 car of Joel Miller, who is about 5.5 seconds away from our leader, Ricky Taylor, who heads down into the left-hander at the start of that long back straight. Next to go a lap down will be the 73 third place Porsche in GT Daytona, Patrick Lindsay. That's a quick car, but it's blown into the weeds by the low revving but high speed Chevy prototype. No sign of the Mazda behind now. Tristan Nunez has dropped back to more than 4 seconds in arrears, Jeremy.
Yeah, he must have got some traffic through the S's on that lap. It's cost him about 1 3/4, just that one first sector. And that's certainly frustrating for Tristan Nunez, but he's got to keep his head about him here, not worry about it. Sooner or later, it'll happen to Ricky Taylor. That's the least way he's got to be.
That's you hope that, yes. I believe in the democracy of traffic. Past the second place GT Daytona car of Stevenson Motorsports, so Dirk Muller in the Ford is the next car up the road. That's a GT Le Mans car. Dirk Muller, after that early incident for the 66, back up to 9th, back up to 26th, by the way, still 9th in class, but lapping considerably quicker than anybody else, and it's just in the last 3 laps done 3 quickest laps of the race in succession for him. His last one, a 2:06.669, and that compares very handily with the GT cars ahead of him, but he's lost a lot of space. Into the pits for the 31 now. I'm guessing this is for contact. 31 car. Check with our... This is a drive-through for contact with 5 in turn 13. So that was the internecine battle that we saw earlier on that has cost Eric Curran some real estate. Now, no warning's been given out here, Jeremy. These are straight penalties, and the race director being pretty unequivocal with the guys in the driver's briefing earlier on this week.
Yeah, now what's interesting about that to me is Bo Barfield, the race director, always said, race like you want to be raced.
Yes.
And does Christian Fittipaldi really want to be raced like that, particularly by his teammate? I'm not sure about that one. But in any case, you know, for the race director, he has just got to rely. He's just got to call every incident as he sees it. It doesn't matter to him whether they're teammates or not.
Correct.
He's just calling that incident as he sees it, and I won't disagree with that at all. But I'm sure the team won't be very happy with either driver in that situation. I fancy the team might put the blame pretty much equally on both.
Well, let's put it this way.
Afterwards,
that's not smart driving by either of them.
Right.
That, you know, I think that's fair to say. What we don't know, of course, is if anything was being said on the radio could have possibly diffused that with the engineers saying, now come on lads, it's lap 7, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Christian, all you've got to do is breathe on the throttle going up the hill, and then let's get on with getting after the guys ahead of us rather than costing ourselves time. Now, we don't know whether that happened or not, but clearly the temperatures got a little higher than they needed to be in the Action Express drivers' cockpits. And both cars now have suffered, because Christian Fittipaldi lost about 20 seconds and is now finding his way back up through the field. He's in 7th position, and that's dropped Eric Curran from 4th place down to 10th, and he has lost something like 35 seconds to the leaders, probably a little bit more. Continues to be Ricky Taylor who is leading. So he cuts his way through the traffic.
Sure,
Mark
right.
Goosens up in 4th place now after that pit stop. Sorry, after that drive-through. Sorry, go ahead, John.
Yes, excuse me, John. Sean Rahal, hats off to him in the Delta Wing in 5th place here, hanging right on there with Mark Goosens, and actually edging away a little bit of anything from Ozzie Negri in car number 60. That's the Michael Shank Racing Ligier Honda. That's certainly surprising pace, I think, that Sean is showing in the early stages of this race. Really doing a good job, and Christian Fittipaldi, having had that spin, really isn't making up much ground on them at all, if any.
No. That is interesting, isn't it?
Meanwhile, Tom Kimber-Smith, Robert Alon in car number 52 for PR1 Matheson Motorsports. He has extended his lead now to about 5.5 seconds over Jose Gutierrez, who's got himself up, who's up into 2nd place now and pulling away quite rapidly from Alex Popow, the championship leader. The Team Starworks Motorsport entry in car number 8. There's over 8.5 seconds now between the 2nd and 3rd, that having changed positions about half a dozen laps ago. In GTD, Alex Ribras, well, he's romping away, almost 10 seconds clear now of Lost Naschenbach in 2nd place.
Just a reminder that you can get in touch with us here in the booth at IMSA Radio. And someone who has done that is Robert Wilshire. I know it's early doors here, but is there any classes that could be wrapped up in terms of the championship today? With the extra points on offer at Petit Le Mans, I don't think there are.
No,
Jeremy,
there aren't extra points these days.
Oh, are they not?
No.
Race?
To be honest, I hadn't actually thought about that. GTD possibly. I don't think anything else can be, though.
Stay tuned for Michelin post-race tech, and if that happens, we'll let you know. Those of you listening on IMSA Radio, radiolemans.com. Our usual wrap-up of the day's action. And don't forget, for those of you away from the track, or perhaps leaving the track later on, why would you with the WEC coming, that Johnny Palmer will host our sister coverage of the WEC later on today from Circuit of the Americas. Damien Faulkner and Paul Truswell with him making sense of that 6-hour race. That's over on our sister channel, www.radiolemans.com, and choose the radiolemans.com feed from the player. Same player, you will find us on IMSA Radio. That's where we're talking to you now, live from trackside. Sirius 203, XM 145, and around the pits and paddock on our scanner frequency 454 even. We have had just over 26 minutes of this race, and at the moment Ricky Taylor is making good on his promise to break Mazda hearts today. He did it in qualifying yesterday by just 0.003 of a second. He's 7.2 seconds to the good and going away. It does seem as though the Mazdas struggle a little more in traffic, Jeremy. They don't have the ultimate grunt of the engine behind Ricky Taylor. It's a small 2-litre turbocharged engine in that Mazda, and clearly once off boost it's a little bit harder just to spool that back up. They don't have the torque, and
that's right.
In traffic, torque is your friend.
Indeed it is. That's absolutely the difference between those two cars, and it just means that the Mazda guys have to work a little bit harder to maintain the same sort of pace.
Interesting battles through the field. I'm very impressed with Tony Wielander's pace at the head of GTLM. He's pulled out 2.2 seconds on Patrick Pilet, and Fred McAveeney holding in about another second further back. Then it's Ryan Briscoe, the pole sitting forward, in 4th position, the 67 car. He's about another second and a half back. Clean and green so far, 5 past midday here at Texas, on what has already been a fantastically entertaining weekend. Racing into the darkness last night with the Porsche Cup. We've had the Lamborghinis here for a couple of races as well, and of course the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. We did get a championship pretty much wrapped up there with the Multimatic 15 car, the Shelby Ford Mustang 350 RC. They merely need to start the race at Road Atlanta in a couple of weeks' time to ensure the championship for 2016 for Billy Johnson and Scott Maxwell. And you can join us at that finale of the IMSA season at Road Atlanta from the 28th of September to the 1st of October. 4 days super ticket, bought in advance, $85. Details of that and all of the other offerings, www.roadatlanta.com. Love to see you there.
Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend with all the championship finales there.
Now, this is the battle in PC from a lap or two ago, for those of you that can see the pictures. Down the inside, battle for third. And that was there a touch there? There was a touch there. Is that teammates again? It is.
No,
it's 38, sorry, 38 and 8. So Nick Boulet and Alex Popauer duking it out and trading a bit of paint there. Alex Popauer in third position has got 11 seconds between himself and Jose Gutierrez. In second, Robert Alon has, well, he's cleared off, he's headed for the hills. 6.1 seconds, that's a huge gap in this type of racing. It's Matt McMurray just sitting in behind Nick Boulet at the moment. Boulet in the 38 car. And McMurray half a second further back in the number 20 bar 1 machine. He's been very quick in that this weekend. Qualified it well. This is bubbling a bit, Jeremy. We haven't had it boiling over quite yet, except between the two Action Express teammates. You get the feeling that everyone is just playing themselves in these early stages. The lap times are decent, but nothing spectacular.
No.
I just feel that people are working to a plan here.
Yep, definitely marking time effectively at this stage in the game. I agree with you. And but certainly Ricky Taylor's doing an excellent job at the front of the field. 8 seconds
Massively
now,
impressive.
his gap, and his lap time's consistently around about 2 minutes 1 and change. That'll go up and down quite a bit according to traffic, but that's basically the trend that he's doing now. He was doing 2 minutes point something up until about 4 or 5 laps ago, so the pace certainly dropped off a little bit after half a dozen or so laps. That's what they were expecting. After that, the driver telling me that the tyres really do stay nice and consistent.
Mike Skeen is now behind the wheel of the number 80 Lodestar Racing Dodge Viper. He's just come out of the pit lane after 30 minutes or so. This could be a bit of tricky gamesmanship from them. Tony Wieland having a good run in the Risi Competizione Ferrari. And delighted to say that, having given us a couple of scares a couple of weeks ago, Fiona Miller is back at home in the UK. Fiona with long-standing ties to Risi Competizione, well known and loved by everyone in this paddock at IMSA and the WEC, well on the road to recovery after a nasty illness. It's going to be a little bit of time, I think, before we see her back at the track, but it's good to know she's back at home with Andy. And we pass our continual best wishes to her. Lovely to see her before I set off on the journey over here. The paddock misses you as much as I think you miss the paddock, Fiona. Risi leading out today, that will gladden the heart of Fiona and indeed those who follow the prancing horse. A little while since Risi have stood on the top step of the podium.
Yeah, no luck at all in recent races.
All the way back to the last race a year ago, VIR 2014. But had a great run at Le Mans, was the only team that could keep the might of the 4-car Ganassi Ford roller coaster, or road roller should I say. The only one that they could keep those guys honest, and ran to a very strong podium position at Le Mans, which which seems to have energised the team for the second half of the American season. New 488 Ferrari, not with the same raucous, edgy V8 sound of its predecessor. A little bit quieter because of the turbochargers in the exhaust system, but with a very distinctive turbo chirrup on the overrun and down change. Oh, the bad luck for the number 90 car continues. The Goose, Mark Goosens, has come to a halt on the back straight, and that will bring out a full course caution, and does. Well, 35 minutes in. It's not quite enough, really, is it, to change drivers? Got to get 45 minutes in the book. Oh, there's damage there. I thought he'd just come to a halt. No. Well, that was...
Sure, but I'm surprised because there's a lot of cutouts there in that back straight. I'm surprised they're not able to get the car. He's not able to get the car out of the way, because that's certainly one thing that Bo was telling the drivers yesterday in the drivers' meeting. The race director Bo Barfield saying, you know, there are lots of cutouts here, so do your best to try and get the car into a safe location and out of harm's way.
Looks like something may have locked up. The skid marks behind that car on the red part of driver's left.
And maybe that explains exactly what's happened.
That might have happened very quickly for Mark, a very experienced driver and one who is aware of his teammates. Ryan DL down in the pit lane waiting for his turn. It may not come today, Ryan. The dazzle from Razzle may have to wait for later today, as it won't come, I don't think, in this race. Ryan's driving the ESM prototype later on. Hearing on the radio, and thanks to the truck for relaying this, drive shaft issue for the 90 car. Here's Ryan DL and Shea Adam.
We're hearing drive shaft issues, Ryan. Is that what happened to Mark?
We're not sure. We lost drive of some kind as he exited 11, so it could be a drive shaft, something in drive line. So looks like we're done, unfortunately. But Mark is doing a great job, and the guys visit Florida made the car a lot better today, and looks like we're going to have a pretty decent result. We're just trying to figure out whether I should get in and run till the end or not, but it's a shame. It's I think this is the first DNF this team has had in a couple of years. Car's always super solid, so we'll figure out what went wrong, and we'll come back stronger for Petit.
Yeah, exactly, and keep your chin up. You're not done driving yet today either way.
Good thing is I got more driving to do today, so yeah, we got the other race to focus on now. Just feel bad for these guys. They've worked hard all weekend to get us a good race car, which I think we had, and you know, these things happen. It's part of racing.
Sorry, I didn't want to say.
It's the DL single now, I guess.
Slightly less dazzle from Razzle. Going to change into a different race suit. Get his mindset ready. Shouldn't take very long to get that car moved out of the way, so long as the back wheels are turning.
No, but we now need to do the wave round and the pit stops and all the rest of it, so it'll be a little while yet.
It'll be a little while before
and we will have wholesale pit stops, because we were within, certainly within 10 minutes of regularly scheduled pit stops in any case.
How long have the guys got to do to get to times in, to get classified, excuse me?
It's in PC it's 60 minutes, in GTD it's 50 minutes.
And in P it's just getting
you can do what you do whatever you like.
Lap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the P cars will certainly come in.
Everybody will be in.
You think?
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll have the wave round. So anybody who is trapped between the safety car and their class leader will be able to cycle around ahead. And there they go now. If you're watching the onboard here from Ricky Taylor, that's with the number 88 car going through. It wasn't a lap down to its class leader, so therefore it's able to cycle past and run around to the back of the field. Then the pits will be open. First of all, the prototype cars will be onto pit lane, prototypes and PCs. Next lap around, we'll see all the GT cars onto pit lane.
Interestingly, the lights are out on the safety car, Jeremy. With just coming on to 2 hours to go, I'm looking...
Probably a mistake, I would think.
Unless they're not shining at the front, which is the way I was looking at it. It's from behind that the drivers need to be able to see. I haven't sat in the Porsche safety car this weekend, so it's not my fault, I promise. I didn't unplug anything, I never touched anything, it's not me. IMSA Radio live from trackside, Circuit of the Americas, Sirius 203, XM 145, and around the world on IMSA.com, IMSA.tv, and the app.
And that caution period, great news for number 80 car, Mike Skeen.
Yes.
They'd already made their scheduled, well, a scheduled pit stop. Mike Skeen is now at the wheel. He's just got the wave around. He will be able to go around to the back of the pack, and he is still on the same lead, on the lead lap as everybody else in GTD, so he will not need to make a pit stop right now.
And the safety car lights are on now. They were not before, so they are on now. And the prototype field is heading in, led by Ricky Taylor, whose 7-second lead, of course, is down to nothing. Shea Adam is going to have eyes in the back of her head as we head down for this Continental Tire pit lane report.
Thank goodness for the pit wall, so I can see up and down the pit lane a lot better than normal. We have 2 Mazda drivers up on the wall. Jonathan Bomarito is ready to get into the number 55. Tom Long ready to take his turn at the number 70. Oz Negri will stay behind the wheel of Michael Schenk Racing's entry. No, he will not. They now have John Pugh out and ready to get into the car. That was a late decision. Fuel and tires for everyone up and down the pit lane. Jordan Taylor getting into the number 10. Christian Fittipaldi getting out of the number 5. Robert Bosa getting into that one. Eric Curran, I did not see get out of the 31. I don't think the 31 did a driver change because their door is still down. Very quick stops from both Mazdas, and they're already heading back out. They were beaten to the line, though, by Jordan Taylor, who came out second to a PC car. Robert Alon still behind the wheel of the number 52, fresh tires and fuel. Matt McMurray still behind the wheel of the 20. No driver changes for our PC cars, but driver changes for all of our prototypes.
Super quick stop by the prototype challenge car, which is going to come out ahead of our leader. Now, who didn't stop? That's the question. The number 7, Jose Gutierrez, the PC car, has not stopped and therefore leads the race at the moment.
That's curious.
The GTLM cars haven't stopped. Pretty much all of them haven't stopped.
No, they'll be in next time around.
Of course.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeremy. That's
Yeah, not sure why Jose Gutierrez wouldn't have stopped. He can go a little bit longer, but I think he maybe missed his call there. Also could be with Starbucks running 3 cars.
Well, yes, they maybe couldn't get him in. Didn't want to stack him in the pits as well. The other thing I was going to say is that he's got to do how long in that car? He's got to do an hour in the car.
Yes.
So maybe they're saying, you know what, we'll put him off strategy.
Yeah, could be, because you can make a pit stop here and not lose a lap.
Yeah.
It takes about 30 seconds to drive down the pit lane, about 30 seconds for a pit stop as well.
And because
that's a minute and a 2-minute plus lap.
And because he's the leader of a class, he won't get waved around, so everybody won't cycle back around to their positions.
Yeah.
So we will restart with Gutierrez at the head of the field unless he comes in. Now the GT cars all come in down along pit lane.
That's not a bad call, because this is going to be a fairly lengthy period. It needs to be another, where are we here? 157
40 minutes.
It needs to be another 20 minutes. Not sure it's going to be. It won't be quite that long, but hopefully he might just be able to stretch it to do another couple of laps and get to that 1 hour mark.
Yeah.
And come in and make that stop, and then they are good to go strategy-wise in terms of completing that. Mind you, they're both silver-rated drivers in that car, aren't they?
Yes, that's a good point.
Is a silver.
It's a good point.
Is Gustavo Yakiman? No, Gustavo Yakiman's probably a platinum, isn't he?
Yeah.
In which case, Jose Gutierrez has to do that 1 hour.
The good news.
That's great strategy, once again, from Starbucks, AP the Baron.
Yeah, and the good news for everybody else is Yakiman hasn't got in the car yet, so they don't have to keep looking behind them. He's not called Yak Attack for nothing. The interesting thing for me is the prototype cars putting the second drivers in there. That means those second drivers may well have to do 2 full hours. If it gets hot, that is going to be really tough at the end. It'll have to be a call at the end of their stint, I think, to see whether they feel they can go the full way. Shea, you've got the GT field coming in?
Yeah, there won't be driver changes for 99% of the cars. The number 9, though, will be doing a driver change. Matt Bell will be taking over. His co-driver has to go get on a plane and fly out to Sonoma Raceway. Driver change for the number 62, Risi Competizione. Now, the 100 BMW is not doing a driver change, but the 25 will be Bill Oberlin, prepared to get behind the wheel of his mighty steed. In the number 3 and the number 4, both cars are doing driver changes. Tommy Milner getting in the 4 Corvette and Antonio Garcia into the 3. A bit of chaos here as the 25 BMW comes into his pit box and nearly collected the recent Competizione Ferrari, as now the 911 and the 912 blend back into the pit line, nearly taking out the Corvettes and their crews as they continue to do their pit stop changes. All of a sudden, the only 3 cars left on the pit lane, one of the 4 GTs and both BMWs. I would imagine that 4 GT coming at me right now is the number 66. Did not see if they did a driver change, but everyone universally up and down the pit lane, fuel and tires, and yes, the 66 has Joey Hand.
Gustavo Jacobin is a gold. Thank you, Right Turn Lover, for letting us know that on
but still,
IMSA Radio.
He's not a silver, so
correct. Yeah.
He's classified. Platinum or silver are in one classification, and silver and bronze are the second classification, effectively, what we have in IMSA racing. And the silver/bronze has to do a minimum of 1 hour.
Orange cone at the middle of turn 1 there. Not sure where that's come from. That will need to be moved, but we're under full course yellow, so we can do it. We should be getting back to green pretty quickly here.
And in GTD, by the way, the 3 cars again did not stop. That's number 6. Who's that clipping the Kona? That's the Viper, isn't it?
That was the Viper who clipped it the first time, popped it into the path of one of the Fords, who then dumped it at the first corner. But I think the Viper will get a penalty for that. You've got to go round the outside of the corner, not move it to where you want it to be. We miss you 22 and 73 is what it says on the second and third fingers of the left hand.
Out of date now. The 73 is back this weekend and running very, very well indeed. In GTD, Christina Nielsen in number 63 Ferrari, Brett Curtis, number 96 BMW, and John Potter in number 44 Magnus Racing Audi did not pit during that sequence. Exactly the same reason that Jose Gutierrez did not pit, because in GTD the minimum drive time is a little bit easier for them. It's 50 minutes, and we're getting pretty close to that now. And then they can come in, make their driver change, and their pros are good to go to the end, assuming they don't have any physical difficulties, of course.
Bill Oberlin in behind the wheel of his BMW, number 25. The IHG Rewards Club driver, getting himself comfortable and getting ready to go back to green. Notice he's rolled up his gloves a little bit so that they aren't overlapping the cuffs of his race suit. Just trying to get a little more comfortable and maybe to get a little bit more air. Now here comes. Now that's very odd. So they've gone one more lap and then come in. Don't understand the thinking behind that. Let's hear the pit stops from Shea Adam. But this is the GTD, the rest of the GTD field that Jeremy just mentioned.
It should be minimum drive time. At least that's what the teams are telling me based off of strategy. The number 97 came in, and or is that the 96? I can't tell from my current angle. The 63 came in. Christina Nielsen's time behind the wheel is done. 44 of Audi is John Potter, who came in. He will be handing over to Andy Lally. The 33, Ben Keating behind the wheel, will be getting out Jerome Blinkenmolen up on the wall, ready to take over the wheel of the Snake. And the last car, which was that yellow BMW, I'll be able to give you a car number here in about 2 seconds. 96, that means Jens Klingman gets behind the wheel of that Turner Motorsports car. And we have to wait and see if that strategy pays off. It's going to be a long time for those drivers.
Yes. Well, I'm looking at the time here from green flag, and that is under 50 minutes. And I thought they had to do 50 minutes, Jeremy, for those cars. You have the...
I did too, so, yeah.
And even when they came out of the pit lane, it was still only 48. So they might be a minute or two short. They might be taking themselves from... Well, it's not going to help them. We'll be going back to green very shortly. Coming up to 25 minutes past 12 here at the Circuit of the Americas. We're live trackside at COTA for IMSA Radio. 454 around the track. XM Sirius, Sirius 203, XM 145. I'm John Hindhoff, and this is Jeremy Shaw.
Yeah, did we talk about the pit stops in GTLM? I forget if we've covered this. Tony Villander still leads from the number 911 and the number 912 Porsches. That's the same. But the two Corvettes, the number 3 and 4, vaulted ahead of Ryan Briscoe in the car number 67.
Good point. And also Nick Tandy and Earl Bamber got into the Porsches whilst everyone else kept their starting drivers. Ryan Briscoe still in that car. Tommy Milner and Antonio Garcia in the Corvettes.
Yeah, that's changed.
So that's a change. So Villander stayed in the car, but Tandy, Bamber, Garcia, Milner are new. Ryan Briscoe started. Edwards and Oberlin. Well, John Edwards started, did he not?
Yes, John Edwards started, yes.
So that's a split decision there. Bill Oberlin's got into there. Joey Hand into the 66 BMW. Patrick Lindsay has stayed aboard the now leading Porsche in GT Daytona after those pit stops. Ben Keating for a quick word with Shea Adam before we go back to green.
Ben just talked with Bill Riley. He said you did hit minimum drive time, so that's the good news. You've won here 3 times before. Does this car feel like you can make it 4?
You know, we've made a lot of changes this weekend. We have searched for grip the whole weekend, and I think we have a car that's better than we've raced all weekend. We have a better car for the race than we've had for practice, and that's a big deal. That's all we can ask for. The team did a great job, and you know, I thought that was a great strategy call. Yeah, we're one of the first teams to come in and make that driver change. We got to get to the back of the pack under yellow. Everybody else is going to have to come in, and hopefully we show up front.
We're back to green flag racing. Drone in for the rest.
Thank you, Shea. Coming together of the 60 Michael Shank racing car and the 0, the Delta Wing, and the 60 car with John Pugh behind, giving the sponsor a great bit of exposure here, but he can't get rid of the WeatherTech pyramid.
You won't be able to see through it either, of course. You can't see over it.
Accelerate really hard, then brake. There you go. He's got it on the front of the bonnet of the car now. Now it's going everywhere. Oh, this is going to make the highlight reels.
John, but
I know, it's really frustrating for John. And there are bits of bags of sand on the track. Not literally, they are bags of sand on the track, not from anybody who has BOP.
Yeah, I mean, they were holding that banner down.
Correct,
because it's
exactly
a triangular.
Right. And what John's got to be careful about now is hitting something heavily.
He's going to have to stop and reverse, quite frankly.
Yeah, now, does he know where reverse is? That's the question they'll be talking about. We're still under green flag conditions. Now we've gone full course yellow. Poor John.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Don't know what happened, of course, between the 60 and the 0 car.
Sorry, we were laughing at that, but it would be immensely frustrating for John Pugh in the car. The car was well up in the top 6, of course, on the restart.
Trying to find reverse.
No, there's normally a button on these cars. It's not because you're a paddle shift. You normally either have to pull both of them back together and push a button, or there's a button on the dashboard. But you normally can only go to reverse if you're either in neutral or first. Right, coming through turn 1 is where it all started to unravel. Remember, we had a prototype challenge car leading them away, and it was a come together out of turn 1 heading down the hill to turn 2.
Yeah, that was weird.
Just sort of got locked together. Needed a bucket of water throwing over them to get them apart there, I think. As
Catherine Legg was just on the pin there. It looks like
on the inside, yeah, driver's left.
John got on the curb on the exit, it looked like, John, and the car just sort of snapped sideways on him, and unfortunately Catherine was right there alongside him and able to get out of the way. Hopefully though the number 0 car won't be damaged.
It's going to lap down John Pugh there and really didn't need to. That's really so unfortunate.
And what we didn't really talk about, I think, was the prototype pit stops. The two Mazdas once again losing some ground there. The big gainer there was kind of a 5, Christian Fittipaldi, He went into the pits in 6th place and has come out now after they passed the PC cars that were at the, front, at the head of the pack at the restart. He's come out in 2nd place as Joao Barbosa in that car number 5 car. So it's Jordan Taylor that leads. Joao Barbosa in 2nd place. The PC car of Jose Gutierrez is still 3rd overall, but that won't last long. Eric Curran remains at the wheel of the car number 31. And that'll be interesting then. He'll be just behind the number 5 car when they get back to green and when he gets past Jose Gutierrez. Watch out for that. And then the 2 Mazdas of Jonathan Bomberito and Tom Long in 5th and 6th. That's number 55 and number 70.
I'm indebted to John DeGeese of SportsCar 365. The minimum drive time in GTD apparently was changed at VIR to 45 minutes. And that change has been held over for this. Not
on my regulation.
Not on the SSRs for this event, but John, thank you for that. I'd forgotten about that, if I'm honest, from VIR.
I must admit, that's why I was a bit confused, because the teams do know what they're doing. And unfortunately, I didn't in this case.
Well, yes. Or everybody's read the wrong regs, because that's the regs for this event. So we shall see. But it's going to be everybody's going to get a penalty if it is. The bag of sand, no sniggering at the back, please, has been picked up by the Circuit of the Americas safety team.
And I talked about
they're heading down towards John Pugh now. Sorry, John.
Yeah, no, I talked about the number 80 car having made its pit stop before that caution period came out. They did come in and top it off with fuel during that caution period.
Did they?
So otherwise, I think they would have vaulted through to the lead. But they elected to come in, put on a splash of fuel. They've still gained a lot of ground, now in 7th position for Max Skeen in car number 80. That's a Lone Star Racing Dodge Viper carrying the Texas colours there.
Smart move by John Pugh there. Something he wouldn't have been able to do in a single-seater car. He turned the engine off while he was waiting for the guys to come down. Self-starting cars, of course, these, with a battery on board. As
all race cars should be.
Well, yes, I agree. Osnegri just recovering in the pit stop, and after the pit stop, rather, sort of a resigned sigh as his car, which he'd had up into the top 6 there, and John Pugh had taken out, is now a lap off the lead. Catherine Legg has come into the pits in the Delta Wing, so that might suggest that there's something more sinister there. John Pugh just weaving left and right to see if he can get the pickup off the tyres of that car. That Delta Wing has gone by. Shea Adam in the pit lane. Shea?
New nose will be going on to the Delta Wing. No driver change, no real need for that much fuel to be added. It was just a really quick splash, but the old nose has come off. The new nose is being installed, and Catherine should be able to get back out on track within a minute.
Left front puncture for the number 60. It goes from bad to worse for John Pugh, so he will have to come into the pit lane. That's why he was weaving around. That is where the very sharp pointed nose of the Delta Wing was sort of embedded, wasn't it? I just wonder if one of those little accoutrements that is at the front end, that little tea tray that the Delta Wing sometimes has and sometimes doesn't.
Not sure the car was that far alongside there.
Yeah, maybe
actually. Anyhow, whatever. Punctured left front it is, and dear me, that's really unfortunate. You know, the team, they admitted to me this morning, in fact, they made a bit of a strategic error yesterday. They should have made the decision for Osnegri to qualify that car. Indeed, they didn't. John Pugh qualified it, and then when they decided to change the starting driver, the penalty for that is you go to the back of the grid in the prototype car. So they kind of shot themselves in the foot there because they put themselves back in the pack. They had to work their way through, and ultimately they'd lost that track position that they might otherwise have had if they'd qualified up toward the front.
Mike Whiteleg asking, is this the final year of the MSR Ligier after the deal was done for the GT3 NSX? Probably, I think, is the answer to that. The car's not eligible, of course, for the championship next year, or at least not in any competitive way. The grandfathering of the current LMP2 chassis. I suppose you could take it to Asian Le Mans Series and run there.
Well, I think it'll be balanced relatively close, won't it? I mean, it won't be completely off the ballpark, will it?
Just the one tyre for the 60 car, and John Pugh is back out again, waiting to hear what John Pugh's plans are for next year, as it is he who drives that part of the programme, I suppose. Looks like we're coming back to green, so John's going to have to get a little bit of a wiggle on as the whole field comes down, or he's going to drop another lap. So Jordan Taylor has held on to the lead through that pit stop cycle, but the Action Express number 5 has gone through into second place. Eric Curran in 4th. Jose Gutierrez in the middle there, the PC leading car, just trying to stay out of the way of the charging hordes of Daytona prototypes. And the 5 then, after that incident earlier on for Christian Fittipaldi, now has Joao Barbosa in second place and immediately begins to challenge the leader. So that kind of worked out for Action Express after that contact earlier on between their two cars. Eric Curran has indeed been left in the 31 car, so he and Christian Fittipaldi didn't have to have words as they were changing drivers. Jeremy.
Number 33 car on pit lane.
Shea Adam.
Just watching as mechanics jump over the wall, they go to work on the front of the car. The hood remains down, which is normally the first thing that they pop on that Dodge Viper when there is any sort of a problem. Now the hood comes off. Yeah, this is going to be the work of a minute.
That is a shame. It's the car that's won this race, or the number 33 Viper has won this race the last 2 years in GTD. Looks like it's not going to happen today. That's a great shame.
Just a reminder for those of you at the track, maybe finding other places to watch in the Grand Plaza, the Audi fan zone for Audi merchandise, and at 1 o'clock, which is about 25 minutes away, question and answer session and autographs with Emmanuel Pirot and Tom Christensen. It's at 1 o'clock local time, as I say, about 25 minutes away, and you'll find some of our midweek motorsport apparel there as well. Frantic work going on with the 33. Spanners in the engine bay. I'd like to see that. Yeah, that's staying for a while. Good restart of lap 4. Ricky Taylor then with an hour and 40 minutes just under to go as he heads up the incline to turn number 1. Joao Barbosa for the moment is settled into second with Eric Curran in third. Jonathan Bomarito and Tom Long in the two Mazdas, 55 and 70 in 4th and 5th. Top 5 separated by just on 3 3/4 seconds. In the pit lane for Jose Gutierrez on the hour mark, as we thought, and the 8 of Alex Popau. So exactly as we expected there, Jeremy. Get the hour go through, and the 88's coming as well, Mark Cavame. So all of those guys getting their 1 hour in, which is what's required in the Prototype Challenge. That means Robert Alon goes back to the lead in the Prototype Challenge category, the number 52 car in 6th position. Best of the GTLMs. Nick Tandy has got ahead of Giancarlo Fisichella. It's in traffic as the Ferrari goes a little bit wide through turn 14 into 15 and then gets caught up behind 2 of the PC cars, including the 88 and the 85 car. Delta Wing drive through, and that is for an incident in the pit lane.
There's no luck for them either here today.
No, self-inflicted that one.
Yeah, shame. That car's been running really, really well through that first stint. Running there in the 5th position with the Sean Rahal, and Catherine knows she was excited about having a good run here today as well.
The swan song for that in IMSA competition next time out at Road Atlanta, where a 4-day advanced super ticket is only $85. Join us on the 28th of September and the 1st of October. Go to www.roadatlanta.com for details. GTLM battle is in 10th position on down, with Nick Tandy and Giancarlo Fisichella still at it as they come across the start-finish line. Drive through for the 60. And that's interesting.
Robert Law on the pit lane as well, the PC leader.
Yeah.
Same strategy as the other guys who were in last time around.
Correct. Find out what the 60 car was for. I wonder if they pitted when the pits weren't closed, but we'll find out for you anyway. At IMSA Radio if you want to get in touch with us, by the way. First, second and third in the GT Le Mans category have Giancarlo Fisichella as the meat in the sandwich between the two Porsche slices of bread. Nick Tandy having a decent run, the number 911 Porsche. Been a picture-perfect year for Porsche this year. All eyes on the debut of their new 911 RSR, which we will see for the first time, I'm sure, when it hits the track for the performance balancing test. Second Delta Wing drive-through for Catherine Legg. Tom Kimber-Smith rejoins in 5th position for the prototype challenge category. Robert Alon out of the 2 car. So this is going to take a while to settle down. And as Jordan Taylor now gets up to speed, fastest laps for Joao Barbosa, for Eric Curran, for James French, Misha Goldberg and Nick Tandy last time around, as everybody's getting a little bit of clear air after the frantic restart. Jordan Taylor with 1.3 seconds on the field. And Nick Tandy with just 0.6 of a second as he comes around the final corner, runs out over the rumble strips and heads towards that climb to turn 1. And it is Earl Bamber, so 2 Le Mans winners in the 2 Porsches. 2 Le Mans overall winners in the 2 Porsches. Through 1. Awful lot of blue all of a sudden. That's people getting a bit of clear air. And in fact, out of the top 13, 10 fastest laps the last time around. But interestingly, not from the leader. A 1:59.8 for Jordan Taylor, though, still quicker by half a second than the 2 cars chasing him, that being the 2 Action Express cars. Jonathan Bomarito in the 55 now, with Tom Long staying in the 70, so again slightly split strategy from the Mazdas. They are 4 miles an hour slower than Joao Barbosa down the back straight.
And after those pit stops in PC now, we see Tom Kimber-Smith directly ahead of Renger van der Zende on the road. 5th and 6th, number 52 and number 8. They're probably just around turn 1 heading down the hill towards the S's right now. But that is a battle also for the championship lead in PC. Coming to this weekend, it was number 8 car, Papa and van der Zende, who led by 7 points over the number 52 car.
Drive through for the number 7 car, which has just gone out in the hands of Gustavo Jakob, and he can't have done anything wrong already, surely. Shit, Adam?
Did nothing wrong except for nearly running over crew members from the number 88 as he tried to leave the pit box a bit too eagerly. There are still bits of Continental rubber laid down across the pit lane from his furious exit from the pit box.
Wheel spin whilst up on the jacks for that car. Thank you very much to Race Control for letting us know. Nice mind, by the way. Lovely.
So Matt McMurray then that leads in PC, kind of a 26th place overall, just ahead of James French. Both those 2 drivers taken over from their respective teammates.
So
the 85 car of Misha Goldberg also onto the pit lane.
Yeah, and again that will be their 2nd stop. It's interesting.
Yeah, they were in on lap 19.
Correct. So an hour and 32 to go. Everybody needs a pit stop from here. So still a bit of action to come and a bit of strategy to play out here. We're trackside live at the Circuit of the Americas. Around the circuit on 454 scanner frequency on Sirius XM 203 and 145 respectively. Of course on the app IMSA.tv and in glorious vision as well as sound with the pop-out players at IMSA.com and RadioLeMans.com. Jeremy Shaw, John Hindhoff and Shea Adam as our Continental Tire Pit Lane reporter. I'm very impressed at the pace of the Porsches all of a sudden, Jeremy, and Giancarlo Fisichella cannot make a move on them at the moment. Ryan Briscoe, though, in 4th position, back to 4th position again in the back to sixth position again in the 67. The Ford, having qualified on pole position, just hasn't had the pace in the race so far.
No, it hasn't, has it? That's true. Interesting to find out, see whether that changes as the race progresses. There's still an hour and a half to go. In that PC battle, by the way, Renger van der Zande in the kind of race just found his way past Tom Kimber-Smith, so that's good for his championship aspirations. Exactly where he needs. He leads coming into this weekend. He wants to extend his lead if he possibly can.
So, where is the next action coming from? Could pop at any time.
Super consistency at the front of the field. The race leader, Jordan Taylor, now, his last 3 laps, 159.80, 159.81, 159.84. How about that?
Metronomic.
And as a result of that, he's extended his lead now over Charles Barbosa to 2.5 seconds.
Looking ominous already for the rest of the field. With that pace of the number 10 Wayne Taylor racing car. Very wide exit from the final corner for Tom Milner. That may be being looked at for track limits even as we speak. Another pit caller, and it's another multiple pit caller. Those who've been in the pits today, Shea, seem to have been in an awful lot of time, including the local 33 Dodge.
Yeah, and unfortunately this time as a follow-up to the stop they did the last time through. They needed to add water to the system. The fix that they did the last time through works, but unfortunately they saw that the water temperatures were running a bit high. To put water into the car, they used fire extinguisher bottles filled with H2O, a very clever system to help get that water in just a little bit quicker.
Like the idea, it's a very cost-effective way of pressurizing the water to use those pressurized bottles that would normally have extinguishing in them. The battle for fifth place in GTLM between the number 4 and the 67. This is Corvette versus Ford. That has a ring to it, doesn't it? You get used to it because Ford have extended their GT program for an extra couple of years from where we expected it. The IHG Rewards Club machines through to the end of season 2018. Rumours persist about those cars and whether they will be put into the hands of potential privateer teams, but at the moment Ford saying that 4 years will be the factory program and the factory program alone. I'm sure there are a steady stream of inquiries for the race cars as well as for the limited edition Ford GT, which we should be seeing going to its first customers in the relatively near future. The production run of the street car has been extended as well because of the extension of the race program, I think. So around about twice as many of the cars will be built than it was first planned. So twice as many lucky people will get them.
In PC, Matt McMurray leads in PC and kind of a 20 for Bar 1 Motorsports, and he's just had his best lap of the race too, a 2:02.259. That's only a second and 3/4 away from the prototypes to the front of the field. Matt McMurray, once again, the youngster there, he's gained so much maturity over the last 12 months or so, and driving really, really well. He'll be handing that car over to Bruno Junqueira later on in this race.
Never been any doubt on his speed, Jeremy. I think he needed to be more consistent. Has in the past made mistakes, wasn't good on starts and restarts. Used to get himself a little bit flustered. I agree. I think the maturity has really come in the last few months. Been working, of course, with Johnny Morlam and Bruno Junqueira. Johnny not here this weekend because of commitments back in Europe. He will be at Petit Le Mans, and that will be Johnny's final race in international competition to this standard. Decided to call time on a career that's spanned the better part of 2 decades. Over here in the States for a lot of that time and been part of some fantastic runs. Remember him and Stefan Johansson hassling the factory cars at Petit Le Mans a few years ago, and he's driven pretty much anything with wheels on it. Johnny with a new company called Red River Sport, looking to help gentlemen drivers in their quest to fulfill their dreams in sports car racing. Wish him all the best with that. Know that Johnny will be tuned in today on a big day of international sports car racing. Spending some time with Fiona and the family. All the best to the Morlams. Big time battles in GT Daytona are starting to hot up. We've lit the gas up just a little bit. The 44 is the Audi of Magnus Racing, and battling in a whole gaggle of cars, which includes the championship leader, and we've got a huge slew of them in the midfield. A couple of Lambos battling as well, just in front of them.
Yeah, the second of the BMWs, car number 96, presumably Jens Klinkman. Yes, it is at the wheel of that car. He's just past Corey Lewis. That is 4th position.
Yeah, and this, we're talking about sort of 3rd and 4th on down here.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody else is in a line of stern to Andy Lally, we were riding with in 10th. Andrew Davis in 11th. The 2 BMWs just a little bit further away. It is Alex Riberas in the 23 Porsche that leads from Madison Snow in the Lamborghini that took its first victory, an historic victory last time around for Paul Miller Racing. Lamborghini's first in IMSA competition. VIR, there was a big party after that. And then Jens Klinkman's a further 8 seconds back, but after that, there's barely a second from Michael Marcel back over, and there's a change of position. Just a line of cars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars, completely line astern, and that is 3rd down to 11th, 3rd down to 10th position.
Yeah, that's a tremendous battle.
This reminds me of the GT battles in the old days, and this is the head of the field at GT LM with a little bit of contact at turn 1. Vilander once, twice, 3 times, and oh, Tandy cutting back across the road. Tandy did not like that.
No.
And I'm not surprised. Vilander came from a very long way back there into turn 1 and smashes into the side of the door. There is, excuse me, it's Fizzy Keller who's behind that, not reflected on the timing screen. Now, Fizzy Keller's got to be a bit careful here. He is on probation at the moment for some extracurricular activity post the checkered flag at VIR. Forced Earl Bamber off the track on the slowdown lap and then remodeled the door of the Porsche in the Parc Fermé area.
Yeah, that was very forceful from both of them. Tony Vilander certainly clattered into the side of
Fizzy.
Fizzy clattered into the side of Nick Tandy there, so you can see why he was upset. But Tandy retaliated there and tried to push him off the road on the exit going down the hill. So a bit of tit for tat there.
There is tension between Ferrari and Risi Competizione and the Porsches out there. After Fizzy will say that he was turned around by Earl Bamber, and Earl Bamber will say that Fizzy cut across him into turn 1 on the restart at VIR a couple of races ago. More paint being traded between Ford and BMW. No, that is a clean pass by the 66.
No, he's being passed actually by he was ahead of both of the BMWs on the previous lap, but now they've both got a pass in. Let's see how.
Oh yeah, it's turn 15 round the outside. And there is paint being traded. The 66, by the way, is Joey Hand. And John Edwards and Bill Auckland have gone through. So that was how that all started. Number 100 BMW now in 7th position in GTLM. Keep an eye on that battle between Nick Tandy and Giancarlo Fisichella. Thank you, timing and scoring. Oh, Bamber in there as well. Oh dear, that could all get very nasty very quickly. Now, Christina Nielsen is out of the 63 car, isn't she? So she's given that over to Alessandro Balzan, who has slipped back to 10th position. Andy Lally's gone through. Mike Skeen's gone through. But this is a championship run for Balzan. He needs to be collecting points at the end of the day. They've got a decent run. Mike Skeen is the man most likely in that gaggle of cars at the moment. Goes inside Corey Lewis in the bright green Lamborghini. Bits of bodywork flying on the back straight and smacking into the front of the prototypes coming along behind. And that was the leader of the race there, Jordan Taylor, who's coming into this battle. Oh my goodness.
That's number 67 car.
67 car.
It was right together with number 4 Corvette on the previous lap.
Ryan Briscoe has dropped off the pace, a very slow middle sector, and has not come round. Heading in towards the pit lane now. This is drama for Ford. Shea Adam is our Continental Tire pit lane report.
The crew is up on the wall, John. Crew is up on the wall, ready to go. Richard Westbrook was not expecting to be getting in the car this early. Still fumbling, trying to put his gloves on. This is not a scheduled stop. 4 new Michelin tires are being prepared to go onto this number 67 Ford GT. The right rear is already done, beginning work on the right front. But the middle section, which covers the hoses, has now been removed, and mechanics are diving into it, trying to get in to see. That's their cooling system is in that portion of the car. That's also where their throttle system is as well. The brakes are being checked. There is a little bit of smoke coming out of the left front brake. But other than that, there is no urgency for this number 67. A simple being given a cut across the throat, but that's not game over. They are just talking about parts that have broken. Something is broken in the right front of the number 67 Ford GT.
I wonder if that's another casualty of the pyramid curbs here. And we had a huge traffic jam just going past us a moment or two ago, and side-by-side action, Lamborghini and Audi.
And the leaders fighting their way through now, that big Gagler GTD car, so that's going to be really tough. On the last lap, it was all of a sudden it was 2 minutes 5. He lost 4 seconds on that last lap to Jordan Taylor, trying to work his way through some of this traffic.
Remember I said Alessandro Balzan had dropped back to 10th. He's now into 8th, having got past Corey Lewis. And Matt Bell's in there. Jörg Bergmeister, by the way, fighting his way onto the back of that as well in the 73 Porsche, as off has gone the 55 Mazda. And that's a turn 12. And that is going to be a retirement for the Mazda. He's found his way to one of the cutouts, just where you pick up your golf carts.
Coasting, isn't he?
There's no engine.
No.
No engine. Let's have a listen. He was talking to the pits there, but that looks like the 55 has got no drive coming out of turn 11 onto the back straight.
Once again,
tries to start with Jeremy.
More disappointment there for Mazda Motorsports. He doesn't want to know.
Oh, and a spin at the final corner as the 97 has gone around. That was well up in the GTD battle. And Michael Marzal has already dropped down to 13th. He's on the exit of the... No, check that. Sorry, I thought that was the final corner. That, in fact, is turn number 15 in the Ford section. Turn number 12, my apologies. And did he get help here? He did, from the Lamborghini. That was the Lamborghini that turned him around was, I think, Persiani, the 27 car. Shea Adam has more pit callers.
Both the 6 and the 9 Audis deciding to make their pit stops now. The 9 does not need a driver change, but the 6 does. Robin Liddell getting ready to jump in as Andrew Davis extracts himself his American flag helmet, now replaced by Robin Liddell's Scottish one. Fuel going into the 9. The tire change is already done. They're just waiting on the fuel. Driver change is still going on. The 6. 9 goes back out, beats its sister car. Of course, it had less work to do, and we are expecting the 70 Mazda to come in as well. They should be in this lap.
And the reason for the 67's woes is through contact with the number 4 going onto the back straight. Went into turn number 11 side by side, neither really wanting to give any ground, and quite heavy contact. It was side to side contact though, Jeremy. I'm surprised that's put that car back behind the wall.
Yeah, true disappointment there, but big championship implications at the front of the field when second place, particularly number 5 car has dropped quite a lot of ground now. It's fallen a long way behind Eric Curran, who's now up into second place. And again, there was just 1 point separating number 31 and number 5 cars coming into this weekend in favour of the number 5. That was the position they were running on the previous lap. This time, though, the 31 car up into second place. Tom Long now, who's quite a long way back in the next position. Behind him is Joao Barbosa. Must have had a spin.
Touch from Fisichella, and he puts Nick Tandy off the circuit at the very fast right-hand kink. Just nudged him enough to put him offline there. Goes down the inside using the Stevenson number 9 Audi as a bit of a pick. And the Porsche's got a problem. Can't steer with the Audi GTD car. The Ferrari has streaked away, but Nick will use the hole in the air being made by the number 9 to try and make some ground there. That's Matt Bell behind the wheel. Nick Tandy will not be happy at all. Got held up in traffic. and got nudged off the circuit very delicately by Giancarlo Fisichella, who is on probation at the moment. So the two Porsches are now second and third behind Fisichella. And Fisichella, whatever you think about whose fault these incidents are, is walking a very fine line. It's like having a yellow card in soccer. You don't then go and clatter somebody right in front of the referee 2 seconds later. He's been in the door of Tandy, he's been in the rear wing of Tandy. I have to say, I don't think that's smart driving by Fisichella. I'm not apportioning blame at all there. I just don't think you want to draw attention to yourself. He needed a nice quiet race.
Yeah, and there's still, you know, an hour and 15 minutes to go. Another pit stop sequence as well. And yeah, do you need to do anything at this stage in the race? Probably not. In fact, definitely not. And
if you're championship leader like Alessandro Balzan, you need to be banging doors with the number 80.
Talking of banging doors, by the way, that's exactly what the 52 at the 8 are doing. A PC going up the hill to toe. Well, look at this battling here. Fantastic.
Look at this as Balzan comes back on. I mean, Balzan can't just drive onto the track and expect the people who have managed to keep on the racing circuit to give way and let him in. It's the opposite way around. You go off the track, you've got to then join in a safe way. And Balzan there just basically muscled his way back on where the 80 and Mike Skeen already was. And that's our championship leader again. Is the heat getting to all of these people? The IHG Rewards Club keys to the race. Stay cool in the hot weather and beat the heat. I'm not sure that is being taken on board by some of these drivers.
Looking for entertainment?
Well, all right,
I reckon we found it, don't you?
No, absolutely. It's come alive. Shea Adam has more with this Continental Tire Pit Lane report.
Just a quick note, John, about the number 55 Mazda. Jonathan Bomarito said nothing on the radio until he had coasted to a stop. The crew doesn't know fully what's wrong with the car. They suspect it's something electrical, but the good news for them, the car is being brought back to the paddock, so they are going to work on it now, hoping to get it out by the end of the race.
Okay, it's going to come a very long way round because it was on the wrong side of the circuit, so it'll have to be brought round the return road. There is a tunnel halfway down the back straight that will get them back into the infield though, so they don't have to come all the way around through parking lot A and then jump on the shuttle to get into the paddock. That might have taken them a little bit longer. An hour and 13.5 minutes to go. Here's how it stands for the penultimate race of the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship Series. Jordan Taylor by 6 seconds in the black Wayne Taylor Racing number 10 Chevy Corvette from Eric Curran. Red and white number 31 in second. Then 7 seconds further back, it's Tom Long in the remaining Mazda that is in contention. Tristan Nunez coasting to a halt on the back straight a couple of laps ago, but smartly parking the car somewhere where it could be recovered. No full course yellow needed. Fourth place for Joao Barbosa, championship leader in the number 5. That is the white version of the Action Express cars. He's another 5 seconds further back from a podium position. Then we're into the prototype challenge cars. Matt McMurray and James French are separated by 10 seconds, 20 back to 38, bar one then leading that one. 7th position, this intriguing and potentially fractious battle between Ferrari and Porsche. Giancarlo Fisichella, Nick Tandy and Earl Bamber are within a couple of seconds of each other. Bamber and Fisichella tangled at VIR on a restart. Fisichella knocked Bamber off the track on the slowdown lap and then kicked 7 shades out of the door of the 912. He's on a suspended sentence at the moment, and they've already been getting into it all around the circuit. At the moment, we're not hearing of any action to be taken on that, but Fizzy really does not want to be drawing attention to himself like that. It's great for us. 4th and 5th are the 2 Corvettes, which handily are in number order, 3 and 4. Antonio Garcia and Tommy Milner. In GTD, it's Porsche from Lamborghini, from BMW, from Audi, from Ferrari, from Dodge. So the top 6 are different manufacturers, exactly how we like to see it. And they are separated, Jeremy, by about 20 odd seconds. But then there's that huge gaggle of cars from 4th on down over, which is still pretty much nose to tail. Fizzy across the line completes his 38th lap.
Just on number 27 car on pit lane, I think I heard Shay say it was a drive-through penalty. That's for Luca Pergiani, the Dream Racing Motorsport Lamborghini. That was running really well. He was in the 4th position before that drive-through. Now dropped, I think, probably outside the top 10, or no, yeah, well, yeah, 10th place.
That was for contact with the 97 BMW. That would have been at the corner number 12. We caught the end of earlier on. Well, plenty of excitement all of a sudden. Everyone's come to life. But they've been taking their silly pills and they've just got into their bloodstream. What you can't knock is the pace of the number 10 car.
No, and the consistency too. That's very impressive from Jordan Taylor, leader of this race. 2 minutes, 0.735. That's a good lap. That's the best lap for a long, long time. Well, best lap, no, 7 or 8 laps. So yeah, it's a good. Anything in the minutes or below is very, very good at this stage in the race. But they want to make sure they don't take too much out of anything still at this stage, because it is so hot and because the tyres do take such a beating. But 8 seconds now, the gap from 1st to 2nd. So he's inching away from Eric Curran. Another 9 seconds back to Tom Long. He's losing about a second or so a lap in the number 70 Mazda. Joao Barbosa is closing in on the number 70 car.
Very interesting to be a fly in the wall in race control with that battle at the head of GTLM. Alessandro Balzan up into 5th position all of a sudden. Was 10th not so very long ago, remember. He's driving through the field. It's had to be a little bit of aggressive, more aggressive than perhaps he would have liked on occasions. That is the championship leader, and there's a decent lead there since the disqualification of the 44 car at VIR. That 63 car's not been without penalty itself. It was over boosting the 488 GT3 car, over boosting at VIR at least a couple of times that they were called for. Had to serve a drive-through penalty. Now PC battles down towards turn number 11. It's getting a bit fruity as well. 2 Porsches, I'm afraid, are dropping away. If you're a Weissach fan, from the back of the very lovely Ferrari 488 GTE. So the GT Le Mans lead is then just beginning to stretch out a little bit. I wonder if Earl Bamber's got a little more pace than Nick Tandy at the moment, and I wonder if it might be worthwhile swapping them around. Gives us something to talk about, of course, because Earl and Fizzy came together, so last race out. Yeah, there's a flash of the lights from Earl Bamber coming down into turn number 12, and the telephone will be ringing for Nick Tandy in a moment. Team orders here. The Ferrari's getting away, and the guys at Porsche will want to stem the tide of that 3-second gap to the Risi Competizione car. I think Earl's just got a little bit better car under him at the moment. See what happens as they come through onto the start-finish line. Coming through 1, 2, 3 apices have turned 16, 17 and 18 into 19. Try and keep it on the track here. Well, not really. That's the corner we're here that Charlie Whiting from Formula 1 is going to want something done with on the exit before Formula 1 comes here in a couple of weeks' time. Now this is the place that it could be done nice and easily. All Nick's got to do is breathe on the throttle, but he's not going to do that. He's going to make Earl work for this. So one presumes no team orders as yet. There's one thing that we can tell you about Porsche drivers: when they're told to do something, they do it. But Fizzy Keller is inexorably easing away. Now 4.1 seconds. Now's the time. If Bamber's got anything, he's got to go now, as Fizzy's being held up by the Lamborghini. Luca Persiani in 10th position in GTD. And this is a chance for the two Porsches to get closer, but if anything, Nick Tandy has pulled out a little bit of a gap on his teammate. The problem is, of course, you do get disturbed air behind these GT cars, and what the drivers will talk about is air or push, understeer induced by the fact there's not enough air going onto the front wings of the car. Now, that is something that a few years ago we would have poo-pooed in GT racing, but these cars are ever more aerodynamically efficient and therefore aerodynamically dependent. And the problem for Earl Bamber is that behind him, Antonio Garcia is now within 3 seconds and is gaining very quickly indeed on these two guys. And Earl wants to be passed and away, while as Nick, of course, wants to hold on to second place. And Tom Milner is coming towards them like a train. Fizzy pulling away, even having been delayed by Persiani. From 9.11 Tandy, 9.12 Bamber, then the number 4 of Tom Milner. Well, while this battle continues in GTE, let's look at the GTD standings. It's Riberas in the 23, Snort in the 48, Klingman in the number 96 BMW, then Lally, 44, Magnus Racing Car, and our championship leaders, the 63 car, Alessandro Balzan, has worked his way up from 10th to 5th position, and Shea Adam is in that pit now.
Christina Nielsen, Alessandro is on quite a charge right now, back up to 5th position. What's he saying about the car? What is he saying about the car?
I have absolutely no idea, but I think it's pretty good. I mean, I absolutely love the car. I thought Corsa did an excellent job setting up the car. I really just enjoyed it. As soon as I saw that, you know, I got past Andrew, I was running P4 my entire stint, and I had P2 and P3 in the championship behind me. I started taking care of the tires, taking care of the car, and running too hard on the curbs, and just enjoyed it.
So are you thinking about the championship now more so than race wins?
I would be lying if I said no. I'm definitely thinking about that championship, and you can see Balzano's too. He's very efficient, but he's careful and making sure that every move is done correctly.
Very wise moves from Scuderia Course. Thanks, Christina.
Thank you.
I love the way she just calls him Balzan. So Alessandro Balzan up to 5th position. They need to finish races. The championship tantalisingly close, sitting in behind the 44 of Andy Lally.
Pit stop for our leader in PC out of 5th place, car number 20.
It's Matt McMurray coming along the pit lane in the bar 1 car. The silver, black and green of Magnus Racing ahead of Alessandro Balzan at the moment is the next car in class, and is the car that was giving them the most trouble in the championship. But the disqualification at VIR really taking them out of contention. They weren't very happy about that. And, made their feelings known, put together a pretty interesting case of case studies, if you will. One of the longest press releases I've ever seen. Yeah, interesting reading.
Yeah, on the other side of that story, I believe it was pretty cut and dried from what I'm told. It was significantly low in the middle of the car. It wasn't on one corner. It was in the middle of the car, and it definitely was. It did not meet the minimum ride height.
And what we should explain is that the team were convinced it was done by accident damage, and it was a small section.
But like I say, it was in the middle, not on the one corner. It wasn't as if the car was lopsided as a result of an incident. So that part of it wasn't explained, perhaps.
Here's Balzan coming down the inside of Andy Lally, who drives into it. Well, that's not what we expect from those type of drivers. This is now starting to get a bit critical here. People are losing their cool in the heat of Texas. It's warming up. Now, Andy Lally is a tremendously experienced driver. That contact looked unnecessary. Balzan right alongside in position down the inside. There is a little kink there. And that is a battle for position, and the championship leaders with the car that, as I said, was pressurised to be in the championship. Tempers perhaps running a little high. Ferrari versus Audi. Shea Adam, meantime, has some news from the pits.
There's trouble, John, with the number 23 coming in for its pit stop, the right rear tire. They cannot remove it from the car. Fueling is now done, but the right rear tire still has not been changed. All the other ones have. This car came in as the leader in class. It's now showing a number 6 on the side of the door. Tire is finally off, and Mario Farnbacher, Super Mario, goes out for his first laps of Circuit of the Americas during this race.
It's cost them quite a bit of time, that. But the fuel was still going in for some of that time, but I think probably 4 or 5 seconds. Sandy Lally is trying to make progress now and has the number 38 prototype challenge car, which is James French, just getting up to speed. Slowing him down for a moment and also coming back through the field. The number 60 of John Pugh now puts himself between that 4th place battle of the GT Daytona field. Joey Hand comes into the pit lane in the 66 Ford, and I presume Joey will stay behind the wheel here, will he, Shea?
He will. Fuel and tires only for the number 66 Ford GT. We are waiting for the number 62 Risi Competizione Ferrari to come in. Tony Vilander will be getting back up behind the wheel of that. That is pretty normal strategy for them. They do driver changes with every pit stop.
59 minutes to go as the Ford goes down. That's kind of doable from there, isn't it?
Yeah,
for
just
the
about.
GT Le Mans cars.
Probably.
Probably,
and,
says Jeremy.
Yeah, but particularly if there's a full course cautions, then certainly. Number 20 car, there's he wiggling around, just scrubbing those tyres up, trying to get them up to temperature. Wiggling the car around a lot on the brakes. The number 20 car, by the way, onto pit lane a couple of laps ago, we heard. That was a scheduled driver change to Bruno Junqueira, so that hands over the lead in PC now. Number 38 car of James French. Also a note here, the 007 Aston Martin, Ben Barker's at the wheel of that car now. He's up into 5th place. He'll be due a pit stop fairly soon. We've seen number 96 and 63 cars both on pit lane.
Alessandro Balzan is the championship leader. He's followed in Jens Klingman down the pit road, and also here comes Fisichella in to put a set of scrubbed Michelins on the Risi car. Shea.
Pit lane just got very busy. The number 90, Visit Florida Racing, came back out from behind the wall. Mark Goosen still piloting that. The 63 is in for fuel and tires. 62, Risi Competizione. A little bit of black on the right-hand side of that Ferrari because now all the rub marks, there's no issues with the fueling or the tires. There was a little bit of a fire at the rear of the car, but it went out by itself. And Tony Vilander, who was smacking his legs to try and get himself warmed up and ready to go, looks like a man on a mission. We have one of the Corvettes in and one of the BMWs. That's the number 25, Dirk Berner, getting back behind the wheel of that car. The Corvette is just waiting on tires. Fisichella is back out. The Corvette is back out. The number 70 Mazda has come in as well. It was the number 3 Corvette making its visit to the pit lane. Tom Long jumps out of the number 70. Joel Miller, the man who qualified the car 3rd, will be getting the honors to finish the race. They're having a bit of a slow stop on the number 70, but the tire change is done before the fueling is done, so no harm, no foul. Still waiting on the fuel. Fueling is done. Joel Miller goes back out. The only real difference that I saw there was now Antonio Garcia is behind the wheel of the 3.
Thank you, Shea. She does have eyes in the back of her head, clearly, to be able to watch all that.
You need to down there.
Same thing. Shea Adam with the neck of an owl in the pit lane for our Continental Tire Pit Lane Challenge. Just under 57 minutes to go, so that's sort of on the right mark to get to the end for the GT cars, the GTLM cars. Nick Tandy leads from Earl Bamber now. They have stayed out. Tommy Milner having dropped away. Excuse me, it was Antonio Garcia has dropped away, hasn't he? Because he's made the pit stop. So in come the 2 Porsches, 911 and 912. Are they the other way around in the pit lane though, Shea? This might be a bit of a kerfuffle.
912 is closer to pit out. Yes, John, that is correct. And I don't see Fred Makovecki or Patrick Pile up on the wall. So I believe it will be our overall winners from the 2015 Le Mans 24 Hours staying behind the wheel of both cars. The fueler goes in for the number 911. Nick actually angling the car wisely to be able to get a better launch out of his box, since he will presumably be leaving slightly before the 912 of Earl Bamber. They have already completed the tire change on the 911, waiting for every last drop of fuel to go into both cars. Tire change done on the 912 as well. As the number 4 rumbles past, Nick Tandy goes back out, closely followed by the number 911. He didn't actually stall it. He pulled the clutch back in because there was incoming traffic from Tommy Milner in the 4, closely followed by Andy Lally in the number 44. We have also had the number 67 come in. It is still Richard Westbrook behind the wheel of that Ford GT.
And the reason he was flashing the lights there is he needed to get by Andy Lally because the Ferrari had just gone through, and also the Porsche, the 73 car, was trying to make a move on the 44. The 73 car tried to make a move on the 44, and I think he got round there. Jörg Bergmeister, using the confusion as those guys came out the pits together, confirmed that it is the 3 Porsches ahead of Andy Lally, and one of those is a GTD car. Just a moment before Nick Tandy could release the pit lane speed limiter, the 62 had gone through in the hands of Tony Vielander. Now, where is Tommy Milner? He should be just behind them as well. So, very, very close call. Left-hand side of the picture, the Ferrari's just going to go through turn 1 now, and a little bump and run on the back of Andy Lally, who gets turned around, and Jörg Bergmeister goes round everybody and says, "Thanks very much, Nick, you've just given me a position in GTD." Don't think Mr. Lally will be very impressed by that. It's all a bit untidy in the GT categories at the moment.
It is right. And what's leading? Madison Snow has not yet stopped in car number 48, so leads GTD.
We've seen this before, haven't we, from the Lambos? They're very fuel efficient.
From Ben Barker in the Aston Martin, who also owes us a pit stop, but currently running in the 2nd position.
You're listening to IMSA Radio live from trackside. Sound and vision beautifully paired together on the IMSA app at imsa.tv. Our sound syndicated by XM Sirius, Sirius 203 and XM 145 as well, of course, as on the player at radiolemans.com and imsa.com. As João Barbosa, championship leader, the number 5 car, Chevy Daytona prototype of Action Express, comes down the pit lane. Oh, well, 53 minutes, Shea. That's a bit tight for one of these, isn't it?
It's going to be close. They have already run across. They're doing the right side tires. Wow, staying behind the wheel of the number 5. They have changed the right side Continental tires. Now running around to the other side of the car to change the left side tires. Fueling still going in. They're going to want to make sure they get every last drop of fuel in this car because, yeah, John, it's going to be tight. The car drops down off of the jacks with its 4 new Continental tires. Fueling is done.
Wow.
And back out. That is a textbook pit stop.
A little bit of damage to the left rear of the number 5 Action Express car. A little bit of bodywork just hanging loose there. I think it's going to cause them too much problems. It's come apart from the splitter. Oh, now it is going to cause them problems because it's starting to peel off as the 31 of Eric Curran comes round to the latter part of the lap. That's the team car. Jordan Taylor still out there, leads by 15 seconds. Madison Snow comes in from the lead of GT Daytona in that 48 Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini. Winners last time out, and they've got a decent chance here, Shea.
They had to use a crowbar to get Madison out because he so did not want to hand over the controls to teammate Brian Sellers. Yes, our most recent GTD winners. The pit stop looks pretty innocuous right now. The tires have already been changed. That rumbling sound is the number 10 Wayne Taylor Racing car coming past me now. The 48 Lamborghini comes off of its jacks. Fuel still going in. They are just waiting on that. Have to be careful with their release because the 31 Whelen Engineering car is also coming down the pit lane. 48 gets back out cleanly. Meanwhile, up at the number 10, Wayne Taylor Racing, they have already done the tire change on. I'll keep an eye on it and let you know if anything happens.
Thank you, Shea. Fuel still going into that number 10 car. The Whelen Engineering car gets service as well, so that's first and second. 007 Aston Martin has taken over the lead in GT Daytona. Ben Barker is driving that car at the moment, and out goes the Konica Minolta sponsored 10 car. Now, has he got, he should have got out ahead. There shouldn't have been anybody anywhere near him there. A little bit of a moment for the 31 Action Express car. Joel Miller has not come through yet, so
yeah, he made a pit stop a couple of laps ago.
Yes, he did.
But I don't know what he's got. I don't think he's got enough fuel to get to the end from there. I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I don't think he has either. Now, I noticed some damage on the rear of the 5 as it was going out of the pit lane. The got nailed by the Aston Martin going through. So Ben Barker there taking more speed through the centre of the corner than the 5 Action Express Daytona prototype, the Corvette. It's sort of just hanging on at the moment. As he's doing any other damage to the car, it's not rubbing on the left rear Continental tyre, and it's not really in the airstream too much. There's a clip just above it that holds the rear deck on. That would be a slight worry to me. Jeremy, pit stops in prototype challenge.
Indeed, by erstwhile leader, which was James French, car number 38 for Performance Tech Motorsports. Also, Renger van der Zande also into pit lane. So that lengthy battle between himself and Tom Kimber-Smith comes to an end, at least for now. Number 52 car stays out, running 5th place overall. It's car number 52. That's by PR1 Matheson Motorsports, and we will expect to see Tom Kimber-Smith, the Brit, based in New York, into the pit lane fairly soon for his next pit stop.
It's Jeremy Shaw, I'm John Hindhoff, and we are live from trackside. Shea Adam is our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. We're not done with the pit stops yet, Shea. 50 minutes to go. Who's coming in next? Well,
we just saw at the 8, as Jeremy mentioned, it was fuel and tires only for Renger. He got a bit of a chance to drink his water bottle as well. The number 100 BMW has come to its marks. John Edwards finally extracts himself from that seat, and Lucas Ward prepares to take over for that one. The number 85, the PC car, is also in as well. That's JDC Miller Motorsports' very own Steven Simpson, who we talked to in the countdown to green, getting behind the wheel for his first stint today. Misha Goikberg jumping out of that car. And yes, we are expecting the number 52 to be coming in any second now. The team is up on the wall waiting for Tom.
That is the leader in the prototype challenge category, up as high as 5th overall at the moment. We are into the window where you can get home from here. The guys who stop with an hour to go can be pretty close. We've seen the Fords be very efficient with that 3.5 litre turbocharged EcoBoost engine. Remember, Richard Westbrook used the eco part of the EcoBoost very well indeed at Master Raceway Laguna Seca earlier on in the season to notch the first victory for Chip Ganassi Racing. Since then, they've been to victory lane a couple of times, and of course at Le Mans for the 24 hours in that 50th anniversary victory. In comes Tom Kimber-Smith to the pit lane out of the lead of the prototype challenge category. Shea Adam is watching. Any sign of a driver change, or will Tom stay to the end?
Well, no driver change, but a bit of a slip-up as the fueler jumped off the wall and actually tripped and hit the side of the car, so they lost about 3 seconds worth of fuel when the guy tried to recover to be able to put the nozzle into the fuel receptacle. Now they are nearly finished with their 4 Continental Tire change. Fueling is now done. James French has just gone back through to reclaim the lead. Tom Kimber-Smith still on hijacks. Bruno Junqueira goes through as well. Tom now leaving his pit box and heading back out onto the track. Renger van der Zande goes by as well, and it'll be close for whether Gustavo Jacobin can beat Tom Kimber-Smith back out for position.
It's going to be a decent run to the end from those cars that Shea mentioned there. James French has only got 3 seconds on Renger van der Zande. Tom Kimber-Smith then rejoins. He'll be in 4th position, I think, just ahead of Gustavo Jacobin in the 7th car. But James French by 3 seconds on Junqueira, and then a further 13, excuse me, back to Renger van der Zande in 3rd position. At the head of the field, it is still the number 10 Chevy prototype of the Wayne Taylor Racing Group. 13 seconds now the lead from Jordan Taylor to Dane Cameron in the 31 in PC. Now in 5th position, James French in that red, white and black number 38 car with the big green number 1 on the side, indicating to the whole world that he is leading that category. In GTLM, after the pit stops, Tony Vielander has cycled back through into the lead and has something like 6 seconds, 5 seconds between himself, Nick Tandy and Earl Bamber, who stayed in the Porsches after their second pit stop, so they'll take them through to the end, 9:11 from 9:12. And then also hunting as a pack the 2 Corvettes, 3 and 4, Tonio Garcia and Tom Milner in those cars. Then the 2 BMWs actually also in a pair with Dirk Werner and Lucas Löhr, 25 and 100. So it's only the Fords that aren't in there. Not their day-to-day again, Jeremy, the Fords.
No.
Joey Hand in 8th position, the best of the 2 cars.
Yeah, and they were testing here a week or so ago. Came in here really confident. They were fast at the beginning of practice, but no, today on race day, they haven't got the pace. Interesting battle going on here in PC there. We've still got James French is taking over the lead again with that round of pit stops. Bruno Junqueira is just 4 seconds behind him. And James on that last lap pulled out a little bit of a lead over Bruno Junqueira. Another 12 seconds behind him is Renger van der Zende, the 20 championship leader, in 3rd place, ahead therefore of Tom Kimber-Smith with that slight miscue in the pit stop that has cost that number 52 car the real time.
Tony Vielander back behind the wheel of Risi Competizione and the 62 Ferrari. The 2 Porsches just split up in traffic for a moment. Nick Tandy in 2nd place in GTLM in the 911 car. The 912 is Earl Bamber. Those 2 teammates from last year in the prototype, of course, and won Le Mans together along with Nico Hulkenberg. That was 2015, so 2 Le Mans back now. If, like me, you count your years from June to June rather than from January to December. Tandy with traffic ahead of him, including the 96 BMW, one of the Turner cars there. They've just quietly gone about their business today. The 97 sitting in 12th position has Marcus Paltala at the wheel, but it's Jens Klingman in the 96 who leads the GTD category. And so Nick Tandy's going past now as he brakes and turns left-handed. The yellow and blue colours of the Turner BMW team. Been around for a long time, Will Turner and his team, and just getting to grips now after the first season with that new BMW Coupe. Could be a force to be reckoned with at Petit Le Mans. I think that car will go very well there. NSX from Acura, along with Lexus coming in next year. At least 4 more cars in GT Daytona. That's going to be a very impressive looking paddock. AMG Mercedes-Benz as well. Looking for partners, I should say, for AMG. Been very proactive in the paddock. Also looking for a partner for an engine and DPI program. Not sure that's going to happen now. Not sure how. They were pretty insistent that there was money available to develop that car earlier on in the year. That's gone rather quiet recently. I'm fairly confident we'll see an AMG Mercedes GT in GTD next year, at least one. Michael Shank putting the cat among the pigeons earlier on about 2 cars for that Acura NSX program and drivers TBA. Anyone with a driving license, with a racing license here in North America and beyond who was listening to that, I'm sure was tippity-tapping away an email to Mike Shank trying to get their CV in front of them.
Really good lap there, by the way, by our race leader, Jordan Taylor. 2 minutes, .273. That's the quickest lap we've seen for an awful long time. And he's extending his lead now over Dane Cameron. But for Dane Cameron, in that car number 31 for Action Express Racing, if he stays in the position right now, he will take over the championship lead along with Eric Curran. And they are currently riding a streak of 3 top 2 finishes, a third followed by the 2 wins in the 2 most recent races. That sort of consistency that wins championships.
Particularly at this time of the year, Jeremy, you know, it's all very well having the points on the board at the start of the season, and I know how important that is. But if you can build that vital momentum as you're coming into the end of the season, there's just something about that steamroller effect that seems to get teams energised. Big races at the end of the year as well. Big race at the beginning of the year with Sebring and the Rolex 24 Daytona. And we've got this event here. And now, just a couple of 3 weeks away, the finale of the IMSA season, PLM. Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta, 28th of September through to the 1st of October. You can join us there with a 4-day super ticket in advance for just $85. Go to roadatlanta.com for details of that and the other offers around Petit Le Mans, 28th of September to the 1st of October. Shea Adam is down in the pit lane with Matt McMurray, who did a great job for Bar 1 in the opening laps.
Yeah, Matt, heck of a start to this race for you. Bruno Junqueira, what was the car feeling like when you first got out there?
Well, at first it was pretty good. On the qualifying tires, they started to fall off pretty quickly. When we put new tires on, the car was great, and it stayed great for surprisingly long until like the second half of the stint. We started having brake fade issues, but otherwise it was a really great car.
Does Bruno have it in the car to hunt down James French at this final stint?
I'm sorry, can you say that?
Can Bruno hunt down James French?
Oh yeah, for sure. Bruno's a crazy fast driver. I think he can do it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, he's not doing so right now because he's actually losing a little bit of ground to the race leader. 3 laps ago it's 4 seconds, then it's 5 seconds, and this time around it's 6.2. So hats off to James French here, doing just a tremendous job in that number 38 car after a great first stint from Nick Boulot from Dallas, Texas, making just his second start in a prototype. Ran Daytona for the PR1 Matheson Motorsports team, finished in second place there. Hasn't raced it at all, I don't think, since then. Certainly nothing significant, if you'll pardon that. And Nick did a fabulous first stint. And now James French, he's extending his lead over former IndyCar race winner Bruno Junqueira, and former 3000 champion and Formula 1 test driver as well, Bruno Junqueira. Massive amount of experience.
Did a bit, hasn't he?
He has a bit.
Yeah, fair to say. That's Jeremy Shaw. I'm John Hindorf. We are into the last 40 minutes. Sirius 203, XM 145. Those are our regular channels on satellite radio in the United States. You're going to hear our race coverage from Petit Le Mans Road Atlanta in a couple of weeks' time there as well, if you can't make it to the track. And carry us with you on your smart device on the IMSA app, available for the 3 major platforms. Bringing you timing and scoring news from the paddock. And also the sounds of IMSA radio and vision where available. Search on your app store for IMSA, IMSA. Download the app, it's absolutely free. No in-app purchases required to get the full coverage. We might ask you for a little bit of information about your preferences, who you follow, which teams you support. We won't be asking you for any cash. Around the world, it's the quickest way to keep in touch with your favourite sports car championship. The IMSA app, just a couple of clicks away from being trackside. Now, Dame Cameron, what has he got in the tank of that 31 cars? Joel Miller got anything? I don't think the Mazda's got the pace here.
No, but he has managed to stay ahead of Joao Barbosa.
Yes,
when it came out after the pit stops, Joao closed right in on the Mazda, and Joel Miller has resisted that challenge, at least thus far.
Battle for position in GTD. As Robin Liddell, coming out of the pits, is up just on the back of the 97 of Marcus Paltala. The contact there. Robin wants to deal with this BMW M6 Coupe. Oh, spin behind is the leader. Is that the leader that's gone around? Yes, it is. White in behind them at the final corner. Slight loss of concentration by Jordan Taylor. Is he feeling the heat, literally, as well as metaphorically, this hot, steamy Texas afternoon? So he did have a good lead there. We were talking about the consistency. It's down to 4 seconds. And Dane Cameron needs no more encouragement than that, surely. Now he'll be able to see ahead of him. The guys will be on the radio, but he'll be able to see the back of Jordan Taylor's car, which he wouldn't have been able to before. And there's just something that gives you a little extra frisson. Maybe gets the adrenaline pumping, gets you on the throttle a microsecond quicker, on the brake a tad later. He'll be trying to wring every last piece of performance out of the 31 car. Looks to be having a little bit of an understeer problem at the moment. Now, Jordan was watching that battle between Robin Liddell and the 97. And we just lost it coming out the corner.
And very early on the exit of the corner. That was really rather odd, wasn't it?
I think he was probably trying to go up the left-hand side, Jeremy. He was very wide on the Edmonds, took a late turn in, got on the throttle, and maybe just wasn't at the point of the track that he's normally on. Different bit of grip there, spun it around. Brothers in street clothes on the top of the.
Yeah, he's not getting in the car.
No, I'm not getting back in that. I've got other stuff to do this afternoon.
Get on with it, Jordan. Get on with it.
Well, he's got another race to drive, don't forget.
Tell you what, you don't so often see Jordan Taylor making any mistakes, do you?
No.
But it
just shows how
he's got the pace. He's been turning laps. So he turned a couple of laps in the 2 minutes point nothing range, which is really, really good.
Yeah, he lost 10 seconds, 11 seconds that lap in that spin.
Yeah, he did.
Just goes to show that the tiny mistake there has a huge consequence. And all of a sudden that lead, which was 14, 15 seconds, is down to 3 seconds. Past the scene of the crime, he negotiates this time the BMW who's trying to lap last time around. And here comes Dane Cameron. It's down to 2.7 seconds. Yeah, Cameron's closing in.
And the reason for that primarily is because Dane Cameron had a full head of steam across the start-finish line on the previous lap, whereas Jordan Taylor was still accelerating after that spin, so that's why he had the momentum there.
Effectively a standing start,
really, yes.
It's more traffic for both of these drivers. Now, what Jordan's got to do now is put that completely out of his mind. It's easier said than done, but what he hasn't got to try and do is find a whole heap of time in the next 2 or 3 corners. He's got traffic now, including the 33 Dodge Viper with Jerome Blinkenmolen ahead of him. Now, Jerome's a safe and fair driver. He will have seen Ricky Taylor turning down into turn number 11, gives him room, waits for a moment before he turns the long nose of the Viper into the left-hander at the start of the back straight. Now, that's the leader. He'll know it's the leader. Oh, the third place car's gone around as well. That's Joel Miller. And he has gone around coming through the S's, so he's in danger of being dropping a lap here actually if he's not careful. Now, was he on his own side by side with Earl Bamber? Don't think there was any contact there. That's going to be a tough one to call for our race officials. He was right alongside there, but I don't think there was any contact.
No, and at that point, though, he's reliant on the GT car allowing him the space, because the GT car's got to turn into the corner.
Yeah, he's 1,300 kilos.
We've got a battle now for second place in PC, going up the hill towards turn 1. Bruno Giancarlo has not only not been able to close in on James French, he's losing ground by about a half a second at least per lap, and now he's got Renger van der Zande right tucked under his tail and probably making a move at turn 1. Here they are coming down the hill, and Bruno's held him off in turn 2. But this is the battle for second place going through the S's right now. The black car of Bruno Giancarlo with the yellow helmet, and also a yellow helmet right behind him. That's Renger van der Zande, the championship leader in PC.
Tom Kimber-Smith is only another 7 seconds further back, and if these guys start tripping themselves up, which they will if they start racing, that is one thing about this track that we found out absolutely this weekend. As soon as you start trying to fight, whether you're trying to overtake or defend, it will cost you not just a bit of time round here, it will cost you quite a lot.
Oh, and incidentally, the gap between the two leaders now is about 1.5 seconds.
Yeah. So that charge from Dane Cameron, that adrenaline-fueled charge, continues. So second place in Prototype Challenge, Giancarlo and van der Zande. And that is also 6th and 7th overall, by the way. A reminder that in half an hour or so after the checkered flag, whilst the checkered flag ends the race, the conversation only just gets going. Our Michelin post-race tech show with the agenda that is driven by you. Get your questions, points arising, anything you've noticed, to Michelin PRT at IMSA Radio. And begin to think as well about your Spirit of the Race award. Shea Adam wearing a lovely pair of limited edition I Respect Isle of Wight festival glasses this weekend from our eyewear partners I Respect. Hello to Jonathan and the rest of the team. So who do you think most adequately has represented the spirit of the race here for the Lone Star Le Mans WeatherTech Championship round? Could be an individual, could be a team. Doesn't have to be a winner, often isn't. And again, it's at IMSA Radio with your suggestions, please, using the hashtag Texas SOTR. Texas SOTR. To at IMSA Radio. Quite a few talking points here, I think.
Yeah.
Can't wait. So, keys to the race. Beat the heat. Have patience. Don't hit the humps. Our IHG Rewards Club keys to the race.
Don't get the hump either.
Well, don't get the hump, actually, yes. There's been one or two people who've been rather less than cool, calm and collected. Shea Adam, I Respect Spirit of the Race Award. Who would you nominate at this point?
The number 62 Risi Competizione Ferrari, coming in now well more than a year without a win. They come into their home round in Texas, and they've pretty much led the whole thing, so they get my vote.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Bet they don't get Nick Tandy's vote. Certainly Fizzy won't. The shade you see to me on the my other ear, the team, for the way they've gone about this. It's been a good, if you're looking for talking points as well, not been a great race for Ford again. 67 car with its problems is still driving around in 9th position. The 66 in 8th. They just have not had the speed.
It's really surprising, isn't it?
Yeah, there was an air of confidence about Chip Ganassi Ford Racing this weekend.
There's not much between our leaders now. They're heading up the hill towards turn 1. Here they are with the lap car Bruno Junqueira between them. Bruno has just lost second place in PC to the number 8 car of Renger van der Zande, but James French is way out in front, 14 seconds. Great drive. Performance Tech might be worth a nod too.
Yes, agreed. Performance Tech have done a great job. A 2 minutes and 7 nearly lap from Junqueira is why he's lost that position, and why also the Tom Kimber-Smith now is only 4 seconds behind him. Bruno can't continue to lose that kind of pace and hold on to a podium position there.
I don't know whether maybe they didn't change tyres on the last stop. Maybe something like that is causing Bruno to slip back.
You've got bags of time to do it. It's not like it costs you any time in this racing.
You've only got a certain amount of tyres for the weekend.
That is true. That is true. Matt McMurray was sparkling in that car at the start of the race. The question is, has he used up brakes? Has he used the tyres too much? That is the question. You've got to get that balance right. Not suggesting that that's the case, but there's often more to these things than meet the eye in just straight lap times. Matt McMurray was saying this year that the brake pedal had gone a bit soft at the end of his stint. So maybe Bruno just struggling with that a little bit. Now, the front of the field, with half an hour to go, there's less than a second between first and second. Top 4 are all on the lead lap. João Barbosa's half a minute back from the leaders, though.
Yeah, he's going to need some sort of a miracle there. In GTD, meanwhile, Jens Klingman's done a fantastic job.
Yes.
And he leads by about 8 seconds now. He's extended the lead a little bit over the last few laps over the pole-winning Porsche of Mario Farbach. And now Brian Sellers is closing in just a little bit in 3rd place. And closing in on him is Alessandro Balzan in 4th.
That Turner 96 car, the BMW that leads, they have done everything. And I've got to find something wood to touch so I don't curse them there. They have done everything right today. Not necessarily always been in the thick of the action, but the pace has been in the car. The drivers have made good decisions. The pit stops have been great. 62 Ferrari going slowly, going very slowly. This is the leader heading to the pits for a splash of fuel before the end of the race. Last in the pit lane, the 62. Oh, hang on. No, not expected. He's already lost. He's already lost the lead. So Shea Adam, you're going to have to take the blame for this one from Dave Sims.
I do not want to face Beaky after this. No, the crew was not up on the wall. They were not ready for the 62 to come in. They are opening both doors, resetting technology that lies inside the car. Fuel not even going in, wiggling the front wheel. This is not expected. I am so sorry, Reese, for cursing you.
Very interesting. They are tripping and untripping all of the fuses inside the car. So on the back straight, everything's all right for a moment. He's about to pass the Stevenson Audi. The number 6 car goes down the inside. That's all good. And then he just goes straight on. So something went wrong at that point. And then the car has gone into limp home mode, because he's got no power at all from that car.
They've got no luck at all.
Says he's lost the master. Bubba Clark just telling me that. He's monitoring the radio. Thanks, Bubba. Had to look round behind me to see if he was standing there then. Wasn't expecting to hear Bubba come up with my ears, but thank you for that. Lost the master. So, yeah, I've got an electrical problem. Oh, this is such a shame for these guys. Well, the car's down and away, but has already dropped to 8th position in class. The only question I was going to ask, Jeremy, is about who is marginal on fuel.
Well, I'm presuming they've done their sums right. So the 70 car might be, I would imagine, would be the most marginal.
Well, he
came
stopped
in with about 55 minutes to go on lap 46.
46, yeah.
So that's probably going to be the closest one.
Lap 50.
Don't think anybody else should really have a problem. Oh, wait a minute.
46 was Nick Tandy, 46 was Bamber, 45 Garcia.
I reckon number 20 car probably owes us a pit stop as well. When was that last in?
43.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I had. So I don't think they can make it.
Yeah,
that's why he's dropping back now. He's trying to save fuel. He's now probably, he's about to be passed, if he hasn't yet been, by Tom Kimber-Smith. That'll be for 3rd and 4th places in PC.
Jens Klingman and Mario Farnbach are 43 and 42 in GTD cars. So that was quite a long time ago. I did say when the guys were coming in just about an hour for some of the prototypes, I was quite surprised that they hadn't been able to get a bit closer to 50 minutes. Meantime, GT Le Mans, Antonio Garcia in 3rd position for the best of the Corvettes. Tom Milner in 4th has Dirk Werner for company, and behind him Lucas Löhr. So the two BMWs split by, let me see, about 15 seconds. But for Tom Milner, it's only 3/4 of a second between himself and the BMW number 25. And it's not even that now as he heads over the brow of turn number 9 into the kink of turn 10. Careful of track limits, gentlemen. Clear circuit.
There goes Tom Kimber-Smith, just passes Bruno Junqueira, going past the pits, now 4th place in PC. James French leads by still 13 seconds. He's maintaining the gap to the championship leader. Brilliant drive by James French. And in the meantime, up at the battle for the lead there, just 1.7 seconds between the first two cars.
If you're a bit short on fuel, surely it would be better to pit and splash and then go full speed, particularly when you've got Bruno Junqueira at the wheel, rather than just eve off and give up positions. Answers on a postcard, please, really, to @IMSA Radio. Because Twitter is the modern-day equivalent of a postcard. Keep the questions coming in for Michelin Post Race Tech. Hashtag Michelin PRT to @IMSA Radio.
Delta Wing team has done a nice job again today. Sean Rahal still running along there quite nicely. He's lost some ground, obviously, with that incident early on up at turn 1.
Now, is this significant? The 97 Turner car, Marcus Poltala, last pitted on lap 41, has come in for a splash with 21 minutes to go. Now, there are GTD cars that stopped around the same time, noticeably.
96 car came in only 2 laps later, so...
Yeah, Bergmeister was in on the same lap, 41, 43 for Balzan, 47 for Brian Sellers in the Lamborghini. They might be in a decent position here because they're in 3rd position, that 48 car, and they've got 3, 4, 5 laps on those around them. And that might make the difference here. 97 gets a new set of Continental tyres as well. Antonio Garcia continues to try and stay in touch with the Porsches, holding them at about 6 seconds at the moment. Shea Adam, the 97 car, in for fuel and tyres, but it looks a little more than that.
Yeah, it's not moved off of its pit box yet. It's been stationary for about 30 seconds with no mechanics actually touching it. Now it goes back up on the hijacks. They're checking the right rear suspension issues for that car. The 85, though, John, just came in for a splash and dash, so I don't know if that lets you know anything in terms of our PC runners and who will be needing to come in.
Thank you. Those of you watching the online timing and scoring may have seen a penalty assessed on the 48 car for too many men over the wall at the last pit stop. That has been rescinded by IMSA. So they continue in 3rd position. That means basically they have looked at evidence and decided that that was incorrect. So the 48 car holds on to 3rd position at the moment, and that is a strong 3rd position with 4 laps of fuel at least more in the tank than anyone around them.
Number 25 BMW putting some pressure now on the number 4 car. That's Tommy Milner, the championship leader, of course, in GTLM.
Well, that's another thing, Jeremy. They last stopped on 46, 46 and 45 for the GTLM cars. And that
was about an hour to go.
Was that an hour? Yeah.
Just a little bit less than an hour.
Right, okay. Bad news for Turner. The Marcus Poltala BMW goes behind the wall. This is the 97 car. Antonio Garcia has been set on stun at the moment, and down the back straight you can just about see the back of Earl Bamber's car ahead of a couple of GT Daytonas. Includes the number 27 Paolo Roberti driven Lamborghini, which is in 10th position.
You've got the leaders pretty much together on that lap. A bit of traffic for Jordan Taylor.
And Bruno Junqueira has come into the pits in the 20 car. So Shea Adam, was that just a splash of fuel?
It still is a splash of fuel. They've only just now pulled out the fuel nozzle. Although Bruno is not going out at any great pace, he's still waiting. They're now putting the fuel nozzle back in. I think maybe they didn't get all the fuel in that they hoped they did. They fueled him for a splash and go twice. So the first time it did not go according to plan. Bruno now exiting the pit lane. The number 90 rumbles past as well. Ryan Dial getting a couple laps in today's race. They're trying to stop first DNF for the 90 team in several years.
Thank you, Shea. Continental report there from Shea. 18 minutes to go. Series 203-145, 454 on the scanner around the circuit and around the world. Battles developing for 4th and 5th TLM for the overall and for 2nd and 3rd in GTLM.
Here's this battle on screen now between 5th. Tom has it, Dirk Werner wants it. Meanwhile, the lead, 2 Porsches that lead, but a gap back to 3rd place from the 912 car that's running 2nd. In the last 3, it's gone from 6 seconds to 4.9. Let's keep an eye on that one.
And the leaders are actually together. Barely a car length between 10 and number 30. So at the final corner in the main grand, look to your left now in front of you. The dark green, the bright red curve across the line all together. And he's trying to put pressure on Jordan Taylor. Remember, Jordan's already had one little spin. Is he struggling, I wonder, with a slightly sick car there? Is he trying to keep the Continental tyres underneath him? He doesn't seem to have decent forward grip out of the corners, whilst Dane Cameron seems to be able to put the 31 Action Express car absolutely where he wants. It seems that Jordan Taylor is having to finesse that number 10 car just a little bit more.
And let's not forget, there's still 16 minutes to go in this race, and so plenty of time to go.
Now, the tyres have been on the car for roughly the same time, Jeremy. The difference here could well be that Dane Cameron's only been in the car for around half of the time of Jordan Taylor.
That's exactly right. And another interesting aspect to that, I think, is the fact that Jordan Taylor does not want to lose this race. They've been really frustrated lately, that team. They've been finishing in third place both of the last two events, so fourth behind that, before that, and then their most recent win before that race. So Jordan Taylor, the Taylor brothers, and the whole Taylor family and the whole Wayne Taylor team desperately wants to win this race. So Dane Cameron is not going to have an easy task to get past Jordan.
Don't know if this is of any great import, but the right-hand marker light at the front of the number 10 car, underneath the number 10 in the headlamp nacelle, is making and breaking contact. I'm not suggesting that there's an issue there at all, but it might just be a loose connection. Now, meantime, in GTLM, did I just see Earl Bamber go around Nick Tandy? Is that a change for the lead? Yes, it has been. Earl Bamber has gone through and taken the lead. Well, we saw Earl flashing the lights earlier on, so that's a change. Now, I wonder if that has been precipitated by management, with Antonio Garcia gaining on the pair of them. And this battle for the lead of the race with 14.5 minutes to go, taking everybody's attention at the moment. Well, all of a sudden coming to life again, as we have seen in the
it's never lost
Championship.
It, has it?
No, it hasn't really, Jeremy. There was an area of sort of a bit of sparring, wasn't there, early on in the first 25-30 minutes.
I think that sums it up perfectly, John. You're absolutely right. They were biding their time a little bit. Pace has dropped off from the early part of the race. That's to be expected.
Ooh, leader gets balked by one of the BMWs coming down through 10. He's on the inside line. Can to defend the left-hand side into 11, but it'll be side by side on the back straight, and now it's going to be a proper old-fashioned drag race. But Cameron drops back into the hole in the air that's been made by the leader, Jordan Taylor. Jordan recovered very well there, actually, from having to go well offline. They've got more traffic ahead. Flashing of the headlights by Dane Cameron. That's worth at least 2 miles an hour, as every racing driver knows.
Yep.
And the pressure is on now for Jordan Taylor. And he's got 1, 2, 3 cars in 3 different classes ahead of him, as he's got a GTD, a GT Le Mans and a prototype challenge car through 14 and 15. Now heading on to that long right-hander. 3 corners in one, 16, 17 and 18. He's got to pick the right side here, and he tries the left-hand side of the Turner BMW. Cameron thinks that's the right choice and goes with him. Now goes to the left of the Ford, who dutifully lifts off. That was a nice move by the Ford GT. Actually drove off the track to let the leaders go through.
Quick note also, Dirk Werner has found a way past Tommy Milner. That's the 25 car ahead of number 4. That's the 4th and 5th place in GTLM.
And Earl Bamber has set sail from Nick Tandy, pulled 3 seconds on his teammate since he overtook him last time around. So Nick Tandy now is going to be left to fight Antonio Garcia, who's about 5.5 seconds behind him. He's going to be left to fight him on his own. But Porsche wants to win in Texas, and they have freed the Kiwi. The front of the race has come back to life in the traffic, and for the moment Jordan Taylor has weathered the imminent storm that was being pushed in his direction by Dane Cameron, and he's pulled out what is a decent lead now, almost a second. Those were tough times for Jordan Taylor. Dealt with them well, I thought.
Yes, agreed.
Sometimes you can't help the traffic, Jeremy. You make a decision. He got squeezed a little bit by the BMW. Nobody at fault there. That's just racing. But he could have panicked, given up the lead. He hasn't. He held on to it. Held his cool. Remember our IHG Rewards Club keys to the race. Beat the heat and stay cool in the weather. Be patient. Don't get the hump. That was as much about going off track as getting annoyed. Jordan certainly staying cool in the hot and humid weather there. That was a cool head personified by the young Taylor.
Yeah, meanwhile in GTD, Jens Klingman is checking out at the front now. He's got 13.5 seconds now over Mario Farnbacher, and that's extending pretty much a second a lap, actually. But behind them, Brian Sellers is really closing in, and behind him, Alessandro Balzan ditto. So there's only a couple of seconds really between each of those second and third and fourth place cars in GTD.
Yeah, Jörg Bergmeister in 5th position. He's only a couple of tenths ahead of Andy Lally. Those two lapping pretty quickly too. They've all of a sudden come down into the 2.11s. And in fact, Ben Barker, Mike Skeen, Spencer Pumpelly is the first guy out of the 11s. He's been into the 12s. Pete Shea has managed to find out about fuel here. 10 minutes to go. It looks like everybody is going to be safe. Surely no one has miscalculated. Well, it's not about miscalculating. You've got to come when you've got to come, I suppose. And if you're out of fuel, you can only fill it as full as you can. And then you have to hope you've got your mileage figures right, or if you need it, you're going to get a bit of full course yellow. We haven't had a lot of full course yellow. We've had that one at the start of the race, and that's about it. We had a short second one, didn't we?
Yeah, right afterwards.
Yeah. So effectively it was one section of full course yellow. Now we had that one at 30 minutes as well, where everybody came into the pit lane. So yes, a couple. So Jordan Taylor now controlling the pace at the head of the field. Has 1.1 seconds between himself and Dane Cameron in the Chevy Corvette Daytona prototypes. Earl Bamber now 4 seconds ahead of Nick Tandy, but Nick Tandy is only 5 seconds ahead of Garcia. In the GTD battles, Jörg Bergmeister and Andy Lally coming out at 12 into 13 at the moment on the far side of the circuit from us, separated by absolutely nothing at all. Andy Lally is staring at the back of the Park Place Porsche as they go into 15. Lally thinks about a dodge down the inside, doesn't. Now through 18. Porsche is really slow through there, and Andy Lally runs into the back of Bergmeister. Uncharacteristic again for Andy Lally to get into contact with anybody, and that's the second time today we've seen close quarters action from the 44. It was on Balzan earlier on. Now down the inside of the final corner. Late move, but a good move from Andy Lally.
I mean, they've been
nothing wrong with that.
No, they've been battling for the last 20 laps exactly like. They haven't changed positions up until now, but that was a great move, wasn't it? And intriguing now in PC.
Got it back, Jeremy, going up the hill. Yeah. Here's Bergmeister. He'll try and cut to the inside. Can't get it done. What about the over and under? Does he swing the Porsche back to the left-hand side? He does. But Lally is too experienced for that and will lock out the path to the apex of turn number 2. So Lally, for the moment, has moved up into 5th place in GTD. Sorry, Jeremy, you were about to make a point.
I forget what it was. I think it was the... what was I going to say? PC.
Yeah.
Okay, number 70 car in for special. We thought that was going to be struggling on fuel. Yep. He came in 3 laps before the other guys. We shouldn't need to do 3 laps for the end of this race. We're under 7 minutes. Well, it'll be about 3 laps, won't it? Maybe 4 actually. So they're going to be, yeah, that's going to be fairly tight. But those are hugely experienced teams, that will have done their homework and they will know how much fuel to get for the race. It's close enough, I think they'll be okay.
You were going to say something about PC.
I was, and all of a sudden, number 38 car is under pressure from number 8. There's only 2.5 seconds between those two, and Tom Kimber-Smith in third place is only about 4 seconds behind as well.
I wonder if the 38 car, when were they last in? 49, lap 49, you see? All these guys been burning the fuel. It's a fast circuit, you're at full a lot of the time here. And I've just got a feeling that there's a couple of people here who are sitting very quietly, hoping Shea doesn't go to them and look them in the eye and say, how are you doing for fuel? They're trying not to make eye contact with anyone at the moment, trying not to look nervous when they press the radio so that no one notices. And I've got a feeling there's a couple of cars in strong positions here for whom things are a lot closer than we might know at the moment.
And that battle for second place in GTD is on now, going up the hill. The 23 cars, number 48 car, pretty much right behind it, just a length or two between them. And Alessandro Balzan in the Ferrari car, number 63, closing in as well.
Yeah, and as I said, Brian Sellers has got at least 4 laps of fuel more in the tank, i.e. he stopped 4 laps later than everyone around him. At least 5 laps more than Farnbacher, who's just ahead of him in the Porsche. And that Lambo is pretty frugal on fuel. It went a long way with Madison Snow behind the wheel. A good couple of 3 laps more than everybody else. And that could be an important part of the race here. So Joel Miller is back out in the Mazda in 4th position. Comes through, still holds on at the end of the lead lap, although he's now 98 seconds away from the leader. Top 4 though still on the lead lap. 38, James French. Happy to tell Shea that they are good on fuel. Both the Porsches are okay. 912 and 911. GTD, that'll be interesting.
All of a sudden, though, number 38 car, they're saying they're good on fuel, but all of a sudden they lost an awful lot of ground compared to
6s and 5s instead of 4s. They were mid-6, now a mid-5. Everybody else doing 4s, mid-4s for Tom Kimber-Smith and Renger van der Zande. Now James French has done a 5 flat this time. Van der Zande a 4.9, a 4.1 for Kimber-Smith. And all of a sudden, the top 3 are separated by 4.5 seconds, Jeremy.
Indeed.
3.5 minutes to go. Is there a twist in the tail?
And in that championship battle, it's number 8 car ahead of the number 52, which is the same order they're in right now. Battle of second place in GTD, heading up the hill towards turn 1, 23, 48, 63. Pretty much nose to tail.
Yeah, Klingman 14 seconds to the good on that battle between Farnbacher, Sellers and Balzan. Balzan's just got to get the car home, but it'd be nice to be on the podium, clearly. Sellers trying to back up the win from last weekend in that number 48 Lamborghini, and Farnbacher, well, great for them to get a result in the 23 Porsche. Jörg Bergmeister in 6th position. The second of the Porsches has dropped 4.3 seconds to Andy Lally since the pass was made a couple of laps ago. But that car seemed to be struggling through the fast stuff. Fast corners. Don't forget, it's Michelin Post-Race Tech. Your questions, points arising, or just things that you've noticed. Hashtag Michelin PRT to @IMSA Radio. And still time for you to nominate your spirit of the race, the team, person or entity you feel most accurately represents the spirit of the Lone Star Le Mans here at the Circuit of the Americas. Hashtag Texas, SOTR, again to @IMSA Radio.
Eight has passed the 38 for the lead in PC.
There you go.
So that 13-second lead, which should be pretty constant for a long, long time, all of a sudden came down to a couple of seconds, then 1.8, 1.7. And on this last lap, we've got a new leader in PC, and that is the championship leader. And honing in on those two also is Tom Kimber-Smith, who's running as well.
Yeah, Kimber-Smith's going to get French. It's a question of whether he can get on terms with Renger. He's the quickest of the three of them at the moment. He may have timed it just a tad late, Jeremy, but that would be a tremendous drive back from the 52 squad. They've worked their pit stops well. Julie Ward's club, the race was executing the pits. Make sure that the heat doesn't get to you there. Be flexible on your strategy and stay cool in the weather. Tyre management in Beat the Heat, our #1 key to the race, and I just wonder if one or two teams are falling foul of that now, as they've tried to go a very hot hour and a bit on their sets of tyres. The lead is 2 seconds. Jordan Taylor really now must think he's weathered the storm. 31 seconds left on the clock. He's going to have to do one more lap. I didn't see the white flag last time around, Jeremy. So it will be another 3.4 miles this time around. This might be a very important 3.4 miles for one or two of the other drivers here if they're marginal on fuel. It's clear ahead. That's what he wants to see. Any impediment? It's going to have to go into time around. I'm not sure for the 38, but they've laid it down. Between Alexander and Smith. No, Kimber-Smith has people last time. He matched the Renger van der Zande 1,000th. So is Renger going to be able to hold on? I think he will. Jordan Taylor has less than half the lap down to the braking area, turn number 12. Earl Bamber has found 7 seconds on his teammate Nick Tandy. Garcia has got 3 seconds between himself and the two Porsches. Klingman, 15 seconds from Farnbacher, who's got half a second. Time has elapsed, so this is the checkered flag this time around. Half a second between Sellers, Balzan. Farnbacher has got them breathing down his neck at the moment. The GTD podium by no means sorted. Second, third and fourth. Per many two from those three. But the Lone Star Le Mans 2016 will break a drought of wins for the Wayne Taylor Racing Corvette. And Jordan Taylor survives the heat and the pressure to take the victory in Texas. 1.5 seconds from Action Express. In second place, Dane Cameron bringing that car home. It'll be João Barbosa, championship leader, coming home in third position in Prototype Challenge. Renger van der Zande turns into the 20th and final corner for his 74th and final time. The left hand is out of the cockpit. Tom Kimber-Smith closes down on him at the line. Both hands out the cockpit by van der Zande. I'm not sure he realised that Kimber-Smith was only 0.8 of a second behind. Klingman has got 15 seconds on the GT Daytona field.
Yeah, but the battle of a second
the
is
second,
intense.
third and fourth is right on there. Sellers has gone through. Sellers has gone through, and so has Balzan. Farnbacher drops down to fourth in the final knockings. And he's run out of fuel. Oh. He's run out of fuel. I thought that was going to be close. Farnbacher has run out of fuel and loses second place. Oh. It's Klingman coming through in the lead. Sellers and Balzan are only half a second apart. It'll be Porsche winning with Earl Bamber in GTLM. We'll get the winners in a moment as soon as we've got the rest of the class leaders across the line. And here comes Earl Bamber anchoring the 912 car to the end of the race. Sellers confirmed in second position, backing up their victory from the last round, and Balzan, the championship leader, with Christina Nielsen, comes through in third in GTT. Porsche number 912 takes the victory here in Texas. Let's go to Shea Adam with the winners of the race.
Ricky Taylor, you had to win this race, and you guys did. What was the strategy that got you to the top step?
To win. Before the race, you know, you always go through if you want to win the race or go for points. And this one was all about winning the race, and the team executed perfectly. A little bobble with the traction control, causing Jordan to spin. But man, he pulled a little bit of a Danny Sullivan there with the spin and win. So couldn't be happier. We've got 70 people here from DLL and Konica Minolta. So great to do it in front of them. They're kind of our lucky charm. And thank you so much, guys. This is awesome.
Congrats.
Well, drama in GT Daytona right at the end. I had my worries about the fuel in those cars, and it would appear that it bit the 23 car, who has not finished. Mario Farnbacher is still out on the track. He'll be scored in 7th position because of the way the laps have gone through, with Mike Skeen a lap back from the leading septet.
Yeah, hats off to TRG Aston Martin with a top 6 finish.
Brilliant.
That's, I mean, those two drivers were confirmed to Wednesday, I think, in that car. And I think actually Thursday morning for Ben Barker.
He was pushed into the car
as
the green flag came out, yes. Jens Klingman by 15.7 seconds for the Turner BMW team. That's a great result for them. Brian Sellers backing up the performance from VIR with a great opening stint from Madison Snow, the 48th Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini, and Alessandro Balzan, an unlikely third place, maybe was as low as 10th at one stage. Christina Nielsen doing a cracking job earlier on, sitting in the top 4 for all of her stint. But fuel wars, we believe, at the end of the race for the 23 car. In GTLM, it's Porsche's first and second. Nick Tandy couldn't hold the pace at the end, and Earl Bamber went through, taking 7 or 8 seconds from his teammate Antonio Garcia, only a second and a half in arrears at the end of the race. And in prototype challenge, Renke van der Zande by 0.8 of a second, both hands off the wheel over the line from Tom Kimbersmith, 8.52, and James French just losing pace towards the end. Whether that was fuel or tyres related, perhaps we'll find out in interview. But third position for the 38 car that led much of the race. Shea Adam is trying to find some more happy drivers, and Victory Circle beginning to be populated. Jordan Taylor about to get out of the car, so traction control issues. So there was a little electrical problem from that number 10 car. Determined to keep the Mazdas off pole. They did that by 0.3 of a second, and they have taken the victory.
I don't know.
Equally happy, just in front of us is the
Yeah, buddy. Duggar, you're back there. You gotta come out.
Let's have championship positions for those that you have done there, Jeremy. I saw you taking the socks off.
Very, very interesting. In the start at the top of the prototype ranks, it was a 1-point lead for Joao Barbosa Christian Republic over Dave Cameron and Eric Curran coming into this weekend. It's still a 1-point gap between those two, but now the other way around. So it's number 31 car that leads. Cameron held by 1 point over Barbosa Fittipaldi, and now just 7 points off the lead are Ricky Mitchell and Taylor. Those 3 cars, they finished on the podium, all 3 of them, each of the last 3 races, which is pretty remarkable. In P6, The leader now will be 10 points for a car